Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Mark, and I will be guiding you through today's Champions Cup match. It's Sharks versus Bordeaux. BEGLES, or however you want to say it in French. BEGLES? I don't know. We'll assume. But nonetheless, welcome to the stream. Hoping to see lots of my subscribers, or the channel subscribers, followers, etc. And I'm very keen for this game, of course. From Durban, the Shark Tank, that is where we are seeing this game from, and I'd love to know where you are watching from as well. We are watching Champions Cup, obviously, action. I'm just about to name you the lineups now, but just looking here, one of the big names there is the fact that it looks like Lionel Cronje has actually come in to start. I think that's the news I'm hearing. I'll confirm that, but it doesn't look like Curwin Bosch is actually starting, even though he was on the original team sheet. Looks like Lionel Cronje will instead be starting. So we'll be looking at that further along the line. But until then, yeah, I'd love to know where you guys are streaming from. What are your predictions for today's match? And yeah, let's have a great match of rugby, of course. We just finished watching the Lions there. Very disappointing from the Lions. Definitely thought they could do better there, a lot better. But unfortunately, just too many errors, too many basic errors. And so as a result, we have a situation where they got well and truly beaten, unfortunately, just through their own errors, basically. But Sharks, they should not have an issue doing with any of that today. Hopefully, the team they have named is exceptionally strong. Almost a completely full-strength lineup. Of course, just the small news there is the fact that looks like Curwin Bosch might not be starting. But I'll go through the Sharks team for you nonetheless. It is Oxenchair, Bongi Mbonambi, Thomas the Tank Jatoy, Eben Etzebeth, Grobler, Xia Khaleesi, Vincent Chituka, Noche, Hendrickse, coming in apparently, as I say, I still want to confirm, was originally Bosch, looks like Lionel Cronje now, Mipimpi, Tapuai, Lucanio Am back there, Potgieter on the wing, and Chamberlain at full back. So a really strong Shark side. And yeah, I think as Bordeaux, you're going to be trembling in your boots. You really are. I think this could be big score lines. Of course, not to say that Bordeaux is not a good team. Some very good players in the Bordeaux side, of course. But I just do look at the Sharks team and basically see almost a full Springboks outfit. So when you have that faced against you as a team, it must be quite scary. Just going through the comments here from Madrid. Nice to have someone from Spain here. Sharks by 15 points. Yeah, I think probably more than that, but we'll see. Aiden is saying, do you think Mapimpi will score a try? I'm sure Mapimpi will score a try. No, looking at this back line, they'll find space, and obviously finding himself in the wing, it should be relatively easy for him to get through. Sounds like a Bok team. Yeah, it does. As I say, it is basically a Bok team. But nonetheless, we'll go through the Bordeaux side, and I do apologize if I absolutely butcher some of these names. So it's Vautour, it's Maidenier, and Kobelas in the front row. Then Jones and Rusal in the lock positions. Giamoroli, the Italian, Kularis and Timu making up the loose trio. Luku is the number 9, and Garcia is the fly half today. Then we've got Madosh Tambwe. Yes, a blast from the past you might have heard, of course. Previous Bulls and Lions player. Madosh Tambwe on the wing for Bordeaux, Moefana and Vili in the centres, Cross on the other wing, and De Quing in the full back position. So, yeah, it's a good Bordeaux side as well, but this Shark side just takes the cake, doesn't it? I mean, it really does just take the cake in terms of talent. So, I'm sure we will see the likes of Sharks put on a big performance here. And we are pretty much counting down the games with Xia Khaleesi and the Sharks now, because obviously he's heading off to France to go and play his club rugby there now in a huge deal that he's signed now. So we'll see how Khaleesi fares in these last few of his Sharks matches for this year, obviously. Genre, they're saying Bulls and Sharks have to win just to bring some pride to our SA club teams. Yeah, well, look, the Bulls and the Sharks sides are, of course, just exceptionally stacked with Bok players and talented as players. So one would hope that they're going to represent the SA flag very well. Lions, of course, not got nearly as many of those players, but Lions should have won today. It was poor from the Lions not to have to won there. Obviously, the previous meeting between Lions and Stade Francais Lions won 30-12. So to have lost today in the manner in which they did was poor. Nonetheless, we are here with Sharks. Of course, I'm sure most of you will be Shark supporters on the stream. Yeah, do let me know what your predictions are. Some of them are saying there. I'm about to just go and quickly add a little something there in the box, text box, of course, and you can go and participate in that poll as well. We are just about 5 minutes, 6 minutes away from kickoff, so just give me 2 seconds just to set this thing up here. But yeah, we will have some Champions Cup action very shortly coming to you live from Kings Park in Durban. Yeah, so only the news there in case you are joining now. It sounds apparently like there's been a very late change from Sharks, and that Lionel Crenier sounds like he should be starting rather than Kerwin Bosch. I will confirm that, of course, when they come out. I only heard it briefly, and I just saw that now, and I can't seem to find any other information about it, but it seems like that might well be the case. So let me know what you think of that. Lionel Crenier coming in for Kerwin Bosch. Of course, Lionel Crenier, quite a stalwart of SA Rugby. He's played around for quite a while. Done very well at most of his teams. So, of course, not losing too much talent and not being too threatened the Sharks there with having to make that change should that be confirmed now. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are of that late change there. Jean also saying Cheetahs also lost by 3 points against the Scarlets. Yeah, that was, I mean, it's unfortunate for the Cheetahs not to have won that game or not to have got something from that game. They did look decent for most of it. But yeah, Cheetahs is also coming short there. Aiden saying, will you guys be doing the Bulls game too? I believe we are. I will confirm. I'm not doing it, unfortunately, but I think somebody else is doing it. I think somebody else was keen. Funny enough, I'll actually go and confirm that for you now. Yeah, I think Rian should be doing the Bulls game for you guys later. So keep your eye out for that, of course, and you can watch along with Rian. But meanwhile, you are with me for the Sharks game. Just a reminder, my name's Mark. Yeah, I think Stephen was doing the Lions game earlier, so we'll hope that there's a better result for the South African team here. And yeah, if you just look at the log right now in the Champions Cup, it's quite an interesting log to go and read. So we've got Leinster right at the top with 3 wins from 3. Exeter Chiefs in second, 2 wins from 2. Saracens also 2 wins from 2. Sharks going into this game, 2 wins from 2 as well. So Sharks in fourth, tied fourth there. They didn't get a bonus point in one of the games, so they are 1 point behind Exeter Chiefs in second. So Sharks find themselves fourth. However, if they should win this game, they should push themselves up to at least second, basing themselves off of the Exeter Chiefs game. Bordeaux, of course, both of their games so far in the Champions Cup, they have lost. So Sharks do head into this third favourites, of course, playing at home. And yeah, Bulls also not a fantastic start. They lost their first game and then won, but of course they did play quite a big side, of course, in that first game. I do believe, I think it was Saracens, if I remember correctly. I want to confirm it was Saracens or Leinster. It was one of the two. I think it was Saracens, but I'll confirm. Nonetheless, so Bulls also today looking to bounce back and get another win, of course, under their belt to try and solidify themselves from the top half of the table rather than mid-table, but heading to bottom of the table. Sharks, of course, yeah, hoping for their 3rd win here, and we are just about to get going soon. Jean is saying Pretoria Capitals hammered Sunrisers Eastern Cape. Yeah, I was also interested. I want to know, what has anybody else been watching the T20 tournament in SA? I want to know if you guys have been following that along. And yeah, who are you supporting? What do you think of the whole tournament? I know it's cricket, and not all of you will be big cricket watchers, but of course, Forever Sports very heavily involved in doing that. And go and join in on the conversation with regards to that, and go watch those videos as well. And just let me know, do you guys watch cricket? Are you guys watching the cricket that's been happening in the country, the T20? We've got lots of big international players here, of course. So and the crowds have been amazing. I mean, they've basically sold out almost every single stadium so far. So they're doing really, really well in terms of crowd attendance. So yeah, be sure to go and catch yourselves up with the cricket world as well. But meanwhile, we do find that the teams are heading out onto the pitch. Crowd-wise, we're not looking like a particularly large crowd, but it's not small. It's, you know, the usual Kings Park smattering of people in certain areas. So yeah, should be quite a good game. It's obviously a late afternoon kickoff. It's been boiling in Durban, apparently. It's very hot and it's very humid, so players might struggle under the heat, of course, playing high-intensity rugby. But they shouldn't stress too much with regards to being able to get the win here. Exeter Chiefs, they lost to with a B team. Yeah, correct. The Bulls, yeah, Exeter Chiefs. That's actually who it was. That's exactly who it was. Do apologize. Yeah, so just confirming there from our Forever Sports admin there that, yeah, the Bulls game will be happening. And Rion will be doing that watch along. So do be sure to join Rion later for the Bulls watch along. Meanwhile, obviously, we are watching here in Durban. Teams are ready to walk out. This crowd is emerging. There seems to be a few. I'm trying to see who this is. There's a whole little contingent of fans here who are certainly not necessarily Sharks representatives, but I don't know who they're supporting. I think they're just a little proud of themselves, but they seem to be focused on them for some reason. Sharks mascot looking as awful as ever. Trying to jeer on the crowd. It's a shocking costume, I tell you. Still waiting on these teams. It's a bit of an awkward wait here. The game is supposed to have started now. Not quite sure what the delay is, because I'm also waiting on them now because I'm sort of running out of things to say. So I'm just going to go back here. Dion Frank saying, loving the 220 games, especially enjoying the performances of the SA youngsters, encouraging amidst the SA cricket doom and gloom. Yeah, I know it is. It is a bit of a doom and gloom situation in the international circuit, but we do have some incredible youngsters in the cricket scene coming up. Brevis there, and Stubbs being another one. I mean, there's some fantastic performances being put on display in the local cricket franchise as well for the SA20 tournament. So yeah, be sure to go and keep yourselves up to date with that, and try and choose a team and follow up, and yeah, support the cricket as well, guys. But also, yeah, did anybody watch the Lions game earlier? What are your thoughts on how they did? Steer Khaleesi here finally found himself at the front here, and he's doing his usual sing-along, and he's singing and trying to motivate his players alongside. They're all singing alongside him as well. And finally, we have both teams walking out. Sharks in their normal black strip from home, and Bordeaux finding themselves in their all-white kit with several thousand sponsors all over it. I don't even just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... They've got at least 11 sponsors, if not 12 sponsors, between their shirt and their pants. So I'll tell you that, they must be making quite good money from their sponsorship deals there. Nonetheless, both teams finally out onto the field. Officials getting themselves ready to get going in this Champions Cup clash. LB asking, is this a weaker Bordeaux side? If I could just go and remind myself of the lineups quickly. Doesn't look to be that much of a weaker side. I mean, there's a couple of players there. I mean, no, I'd say, I mean, yeah, they're missing a couple of their star players, but not enough to warrant saying that you know that's an excuse. I do think Bordeaux's got a strong enough side to compete, but the Sharks side, unfortunately, they are proper outfit. Genre, they're saying Bordeaux may actually win this as far as the results went for the SA teams. Yeah, except for the fact that both obviously Cheetahs and Lions not playing Champions Cup. They play the Challenge Cup, which is the level below, and not as strong outfits as especially the Sharks and Bulls teams, who have got so much money behind them as well in terms of financial power. But the game is finally underway. Sharks receiving the kickoff. They are playing from right to left. Eben Etzbeth collects the ball early, and he's driving very well. Steer Khaleesi, they're supporting him, followed by by Bongi Banamia, in fact. Jan Hendricks are opting for a box kick almost immediately here. The ball is sent up. Mapimpi is sent up to chase. Not a great kick, but not too bad either. Mapimpi goes up for it, knocks it on forward. So Bordeaux come away with the ball. It's advantage to Bordeaux, just a knock-on advantage. Bordeaux now with the ball, coming up the midfield through the props. Bordeaux now looking for their own box kick, just off their 10-meter line. The ball goes up. It's a far kick. Tell you something, they're not going to get anywhere near that. It's collected here. And it is indeed Lionel Cronje that is on. So obviously it was supposed to be Kerwin Bosch, but late change made by the Sharks there, and Lionel Cronje comes into the output. Mapimpi now receives the ball back again from an opposition kick. Pass it back to Lionel Cronje, who kicks it from the 22, looking to get some territory. and it does go out just about the Bordeaux 10-meter line. So we'll have our first line out of the game. So not too much show between both teams in the opening exchange there. But yeah, just focusing on Lionel Cronje now because he's found himself in the Sharks outfit in the starting lineup where it should have been Kerwin Bosch. So yeah, what are your thoughts about that as well? Now the SA teams were cut last week. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they weren't great. Let's be honest here. But I do back this Sharks outfit today. If they don't get the win, they could only be kicking themselves. They've got way too many good players. If Noche gets the ball from the back of the line-out, Bordeaux messing up the line-out, gone too far. And Sharks now find themselves just outside Bordeaux's 22. Eventually, this ball, I mean, I don't know how legally, but Bordeaux somehow win this ball back. I do believe the ball was being played on the ground. Nonetheless, Sharks lose possession. Bordeaux pass it backwards, and it is kicked further outfield. It was touched by Sharks player, so Sharks are motoring forward now. It looks like Chamberlain here. Chamberlain takes it up. Siaklisi supporting him well and hitting the ruck. Hendrickson now taking the ball. The Sharks find themselves about midfield, close to the halfway line. Hendrickson chooses to go blindside. It's Chamberlain. Passes out wide to the wing. It's coming through. It's a little bit of a high tackle there, I think. The ref hasn't seen it. Hendrickson takes it in, passes it infield. Oxenchair driving up very nicely. Jaden Hendrickson opting to pass it off to Siaklisi on the blind side. They've made it into the 22. They're keeping the ball alive. We're popping the ball in. Hendrickson gets the ball back, passing across the midfield. It's Thomas the Tank tries to go bolting through the midfield. But Bordeaux win it back again. Great steal there. And they've shifted it quickly as Madosh Tambwe finds himself free with space. He's trying to take on, but eventually very well tackled. Very well tackled indeed from Potgieter there, from the Sharks. Great tackle on Madosh Tambwe. So we find ourselves... Sharks take it quickly. They've hit it up midfield. Grab a kick. Lukanya Arms chasing. Lukanya Arms going to make it very difficult here. Indeed, it was Vincent Chituka actually. Sharks got the ball just on the 22. It's open, broken play. Very well rucked. The ball is out though, so Bordeaux get the ball back again. But it's a penalty against Bordeaux. Penalty against Bordeaux. Apparently opting to kick the ball through. So Sharks with a penalty, very kickable. But they've tapped it quickly as Mapimpi's tapped it. He's passed it to Noche. Goes to Lionel Cronje. Comes to almost... Oh, and big knock on from Potgieter on the wing. Oh, Sharks stuffing up a golden opportunity there. Sharks trying to really play fast and running rugby, but yeah, punished there. They needed to slow it down maybe just a little bit. Definitely think this catch should have been taken. Oh my word, shocking from Potgieter. Absolutely shocking. But we now do find ourselves with the first scrum of the game, and this will be very telling for the rest of the encounter. Of course, this is pretty much an all Springbok front row for the Sharks. So yeah, a very tough test for Bordeaux. Just going through here. Cronje isn't bad. Why take it fast? Need to go to touch. Yeah, I do agree. You've got such a big pack with the Sharks pack. It's a properly big pack here. You'd surely back themselves in a more situation or whatever. But Mapimpi decides to take it quickly for some reason. And Bordeaux now with the scrum. The scrum is set. This seems to be a strong hit from the Sharks. The ball has gone down. It's a penalty to the Sharks indeed. Collapsing on the far side there of the scrum. It's Tuapua who finds himself on the floor. And Vautua, sorry. Found himself buckling under pressure. So Sharks doing well there to win a penalty now. They can slow it down. They're opting about posts. They're looking to posts. Yeah, Lionel Cronje points to the posts. Lions and Sharks get their first chance at points in this game. LB there saying, had them on the ropes there, Jean. Also not the best ref in the world. Well, I do find in these competitions, we don't tend to often have the greatest refs available, but obviously the Champions Cup's a bit better than like URC, for example. You know, you do get your big name refs in the Champions Cup for these sort of teams, but yeah, I do find sometimes the standard of officiating not always the best, but we'll see. You know, I always go into each one with a blank mind, and I let the ref. Hey? I'm going to say Champions Cup generally have quite good big name refs. Wayne Barnes, Luke Pierce. So Luke Pierce today, of course. Not a lot of South Africans like him for that encounter in the internationals in the end of year tour last year. But nonetheless, we should be fine here. Lionel Cronje with the kick at posts. Slots it straight down the middle. Sharks find themselves 3 points up. So, Sharks, early lead, 6 minutes in, and very much deserving of the lead. Bordeaux barely having the ball so far. Yeah, just to be glad we don't have SA refs. They are horrible. Yeah, SA refs not been doing themselves any favors recently either. The refereeing world at the moment is a bit of an interesting one because we've got a big changeover in terms of finding who the new class refs are, because a lot of the old guard are starting to retire. So, the likes of the French, a lot of the French big name French refs have retired recently. So, we've got a big changing of the guard. So, kickoff was received by the Sharks, and Jaden Hendricks had sent it up from a Pimpy to chase. It's Etzebeth who wins it eventually. Oxenchair gathers the ball back from his pass. Jaden Hendricks takes the loose ball, passes it to Lionel Cronje, who looks to get territory up the side. Portkeet is chasing hard. It's a good kick, but it's well received by Bordeaux. And it's kicked further upfield. I think it's kept in play. Indeed it is. Ball is sent up for an up and under. There's a chase. It's not a great up and under, but nonetheless. Penalty against the Sharks. Not retreating. Offsides to the Sharks. So Bordeaux get a penalty just about the halfway line. Vincent Chatuka, the one at fault, apparently. Yeah, and Bordeaux immediately point to the posts, trying to get some points on the borders for themselves as well. Why kick it so much? Yeah, it's early exchanges, obviously, so kicking tends to happen a lot more early in the game, but I think you'll see the kicks become less frequent as the game goes on. They have amazing players. Yeah, I do agree. Sharks do have an incredible backline, so you do have to sort of try and back yourselves in going for running up the field. But nonetheless, it is early stages. It's rare for most teams to kick it to hold on to the ball this early on. They usually do try to see and gauge where they are with the kicking game. So Bordeaux with the attempted kick. Kicker turns. He's happy with it, I think. Oh, it's short. So, Sharks continue playing. It's Jaden Hendricks. He tries to run up. He passes it back to Eben Etzebeth, who feints a kick. Oh, big hit from Eben Etzebeth there. Feinting off the Bordeaux player. Jaden Hendricks eventually kicks the ball out. It's farm touch. It's a good kick. It's about halfway line. Not quite halfway line, 10-meter line within the Sharks half. Nonetheless, it's a good enough kick. So, Sharks exit relatively well. But yeah, unfortunately, Bordeaux missing out on the chance there to get 3 points on the board. So Bordeaux line out in the Sharks 10-meter line. There's actually a much bigger crowd there than I thought there was originally. The main grandstand quite packed actually. So fair play. So Bordeaux up for the maul. They set it up. They take it straight out, passing through the back line now. Tambwe up the middle. Tambwe with a huge hit. My word, Sia Khaleesi letting him know who's boss there. My word, Tambwe driven very far back. Huge hit from Sia Khaleesi. And again, another big hit there from the Sharks. Bordeaux struggling to get through here. They're up for the kick. It's the up and under to the wing. It looks like it's going out in the full. Not quite. But Sharks win the line out. Just outside their own 22. Yeah, there's the big name players here in this game. Yeah, it's what you want for South Africa. The nice thing about having gone to the North is that we do have the financial reserves that have just arrived as a result to get all these big name players back into the country. Of course, Sia Khaleesi very recently signing for Sporting. I think it is Sporting. Racing, right? Racing, you know what I meant. I believe it's Racing, but either way, moving to France for a big money contract. But most of the Springboks are back inside the country again, which is always great to see. Jean was saying, Eben Etzebeth, what a player. Never want him on the opposite team. Yeah, I mean, Eben Etzebeth, arguably one of the best players in the world for the last couple of years. Nobody really comes close in that lock position. I mean, people argue Mario Toje, but every time he's come up against Eben Etzebeth, he's really shown him up. Eben Etzebeth has just been class for the last 2 years. Borderline never makes a mistake. It's just incredible work rate. What an incredible player. And then obviously Sia Khaleesi also, proving all the haters wrong. And I never understood how people could hate Sia Khaleesi. Also, genuinely one of the best players in the world as well. Unbelievable player. So Sharks winning the penalty there. And they've opted for the line. They've got their line out set. They've got the maul set. And it comes to the back. It's Eben Etzebeth who's trying to pass the ball back through. Eventually comes back. This maul is moving forward at a relatively decent pace. But it's now getting a little stop. Jaden Hendricks are calling for support. Mapimpi's making a run through. He's grabbing it through. Jaden Hendrickson. Mapimpi's going to collect it, and he's not going to make the line. Oh, he's lost the ball. I don't know how that's happened. But Sharks do very well to hold the ball inside the Bordeaux try line. So it's going to be a scrum to the Sharks on the 5-meter line. Mapimpi screaming at the touchline ref. Screaming at him. I don't know what his issue is. I think he's saying that he was held when he was on the ground. Nonetheless, great little ingenuity there by Jaden Hendrickson and Mapimpi. Almost worked perfectly. So Luke Pearce eventually explaining to Siya Kolisi what the issues are to basically tell Mapimpi to calm down. So I think Mapimpi was complaining that he was tackled without the ball. But yeah, replay show was borderline the same. But Luke Pearce is now having words with Mapimpi. Mapimpi being told this is very much like schoolboy issues. Mapimpi shouting at the ref and Luke Pearce coming across and basically telling him off for being a naughty boy and literally telling him to say sorry. So Mapimpi just needs to calm down there. And yeah, so Luke Pearce has sort of tried to calm him down. And it's a scrum for the Sharks on the 5-meter line. Sharks did dominate the last scrum. I mean, look, we didn't really get much of a scrum, but Thomas the Tank, Detroit, did force Bordeaux to the floor there. Vautoa could not handle him in the previous scrum. So we'll see how this scrum goes now. Having to reset, unfortunately. But yeah, Sharks right on the Bordeaux line here. Bordeaux very much in danger of conceding a try. The Sharks outfit just looks so class. They really do. Straight to the comments here. Albert, clearly a Sharks fan there. LB saying, and then Kitsoff leaves. Yeah, Kitsoff's also going. Albert van Lingen, Kolisi is awesome, 100%. Sharks need to calm down. They do just need to slow it down a little bit. But at the same time, the Sharks outfit, they're very good at most. You know, rapid play, they're very good. They'll be fine, I'm sure. It's early stages. You need to try and string a few passes together and they'll be fine. Free kick to Sharks. Jaden Henderson taps and goes, and he's gone over. There you go, into the corner, taps and goes straight to the corner. Sharks with the first try of the game. Straight off of that free kick from the scrum there. So, Sharks, yeah, finding themselves very much in control. 13 minutes into this game. Jaden Henderson with his first try in the Champions Cup. Just going back to these comments here. Sharks need to come down. We've just gone over that. Just fair reffing, please. Yeah, that's all we want. Absolutely hate Mapimpi. So much of a temperament from an average player. I mean, wouldn't go with the average player, but he is a very big hothead. Does often complain and does find himself a bit of a temperament problem. There's no doubt. But I wouldn't say an average player. He is a properly big wing and he's quite fast. You know, most teams would love to have him on their team. Albert saying, I'm actually a cheater. Ah, shame. Apologies for that. All SA teams have my support. I think everybody's like that. You always want the SA teams to do well overseas. You're only really supporting your own South African franchise the moment it comes against another South African franchise. But otherwise, we are all SA supporters. Sharks should be good with the amount of box they have. They should be. And Lionel Cronier's unfortunately skewed his kick right. So it's going to stay 8-0. Yeah, Lionel Cronier missing that kick from the corner. Wasn't the easiest kick. But yeah, just unfortunately not getting his bearings right at all. And misses it by quite some distance. Nonetheless, I'm sure Sharks will find themselves back there very quickly as there's an early injury for Bordeaux. It's number 14. It's the winger. It's Cross or Crow, or however you want to say it. He's unfortunately clearly done something to his left leg or / left ankle. And that's unfortunate. A very early end for him. It doesn't look like he's going to be coming back to rugby anytime soon. It looks like quite a bad injury there. So Sharks physicality showing already. Bordeaux finding themselves a man injured. Oh my word, but there's a spill from the restart. Eben Etzbeth went up and spilt it, and Bordeaux find themselves right on the Sharks' 5-meter line. Can Sharks defend this now? It's Vuatoa. He's eventually gone down. Bordeaux now finding themselves again trying to drive it through. It's on the 5-meter line. It's well defended by Sharks. It's got over. Oh, Jaden Henderson almost penalised there. He eventually gives it up. Bordeaux still opting for the charge up the middle. Not really making much ground. Sharks doing very well to defend so far. I think it's holding here. Sharks doing very well there. And it's a penalty. Fantastic from Vincent Chituka to win the penalty there. Holding the ball on in the ruck. Great effort from Vincent Chituka there. And Sharks get out of jail. Yeah, it was a big spill from the restart. So Sharks doing well there to not concede. And Lionel Cunier now kicks for the line. Doesn't look to be a brilliant kick, if I'm honest. Yeah, eventually just goes out in between the 22-meter line and the 10-meter line within the Sharks half. Just going back to these comments here. Terrible kick. Yeah, well, it wasn't a terrible kick, but yeah, certainly not close. Except Stormers supporters, they want all the SA teams to lose except their team. I mean, Stormers supporters are a different bunch, but I'm not sure it's as bad as that. Agree, Province are the exception. Yeah, well, yeah, all of us have our same feelings about Western Province / Stormers, but come now, I think most people will be opting for SA teams to win. Sharks win the line out very comfortably. They set up the maul. Eventually, the maul starts moving as the ball gets to the back, trying to move it forward. Now it's got some bit of a go forward. Coming from the side, there looks like Bordeaux, but it's deemed to have come in legally, and he's got the ball. He's over the ball, but it's made a ruck for Sharks. So Sharks get away with it there. Eben Etzbeth looking to take the ball out. Eventually, yeah, Eben Etzbeth goes through. Vince Tutuka supporting him. Drives very well, Eben Etzbeth. My word, makes about 10 meters by himself. What a player. Jaden Henderson now opting to pass it to the wing. Oh, spilled by Siaklisi. I think backwards, though, from the ref. And he's passed it off to Potgieter, who's not done very well there, actually, Siaklisi in the end. Supporting Potgieter. He's gone off his feet there, the Bordeaux player. I think this might be penalised unless, yeah, okay, he's oh, my word. Vincent Tutuka making a big drop. I think it's also been deemed to have gone backwards. Lukanya Am now chasing a midfield chip. He's doing well to get there, unfortunately, not able to regather that. Bordeaux trying their own, but basically messing it up. It's a broken play, very much so. Bordeaux eventually gathering and setting up the ruck here, just about 10 meters outside of their own 22. And now just setting up another ruck, I'm sure, for a box kick here. Yeah, indeed, here comes the box kick for Bordeaux. So Bordeaux managing to hang on there. Not for much longer, I don't think. The ball goes up. It's gone very far towards the Sharks half. It should be very easy to regather. Indeed, it is. Here comes Chamberlain. He's moving forward and he's passed at midfield. Done very well. Vince Tutuka finds himself supporting him. My word, Sharks are doing very well here in their broken play. Sharks now find themselves with numbers on the far side wing. It's Siaklisi. He passes it out wide to Lukanya Am, who's had to gone. Oh, he's been taken out. Unfortunately, a foot in touch. So, again, Bordeaux hanging on, but Sharks all over Bordeaux. This could get very messy for them. Going to be a line out to Bordeaux just inside their 22. Solid defense, my word. Etzbeth is absolute menace. Hey, leave us Province Stormers boys alone. Yeah, Province isn't part of South Africa. I mean, well, that I will say. Western Cape people do tend to believe they're a different country, and that is very much known. But I don't think they're not part of South Africa. I definitely think they're a good part of South Africa. We don't want them to leave. I'm sorry, but that second one was knock-on. Yeah, I definitely think it was a knock-on. Yeah, Western Province carrying the country's economy on its back. I mean, I do think Gauteng will say something about that, just by the by, whatever. And then Stormers deserve the trophy. Nobody wants just one dominant SA team, which is the Bulls. I mean, the biggest problem is I've never been a big Bulls fan. Being a Lions fan, I've never liked the Bulls all that much. Nonetheless, Sharks find themselves. Yeah, it's Chamberlain who's, oh my word, he's stuffed up a little bit. All the way on the far side. Eventually the ball goes out. I think it came off Bordeaux first, so I think it's going to be a Sharks line out. We'll see now. Sorry, I was just going through some comments there, but yeah, Sharks took that line out and just basically spread it right across the line. Almost managed to get through there. Yeah, it comes off the yeah. Bordeaux picked up the player there, picked up the ball whilst he was stepping out. So Sharks line out just inside Bordeaux's 22. So Sharks continue the onslaught. Points not quite matching how much dominance they're getting. Bordeaux barely able to get the ball. Hey, we're the best part of South Africa. Well, I will say this. Cape Town is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The whole Western Cape is a stunning part of South Africa. But you know, Eastern Cape is also beautiful, just by the way. It's a slept upon province. Problem is that it's got absolutely no money to speak of, so nobody really goes there. Nonetheless, it's quite a beautiful province, untouched, and good game there. Jean is saying the Bulls have 4 Super Rugby trophies, so if Bulls won the URC, nobody would be happy. I mean, I'm not sure nobody would be happy, but I would certainly say it's a bit more of the typical SA team doing well. Sharks haven't really ever done as much as I do believe they should. They're always considered a big team in this country, and yet they've not got the biggest trophy cabinet to support it, you know. So I would actually be interested to see if Sharks can try and do something in this Champions Cup. They do probably have the strongest team in SA, if we're honest. It probably is the strongest team, strongest outfit. Bulls would have something to say about that, but I think the Sharks team is quite something else. Mapimpi having a bad week. Man's in a mood. Man's always in a mood. Mapimpi's always a bit of a moody player. Eastern Cape would be nice if it wasn't so boring. Yeah, but I mean, it depends what you like. I like beaches. I like a beach holiday where you relax. And Eastern Cape's got some stunning beaches and things. And often they're untouched. That's the nice thing because it is obviously so rural. Scrum here for the Sharks. Apparently, I think they're deeming a knock-on first. So it was actually to Bordeaux. Sorry. Completely missed that somehow. Sharks trying to get there. Bordeaux coming forward. Urban Etzbeth not able to grab hold of the scrum half. Bordeaux trying to just fight it out with their own 22. Eventually comes out. And the kick goes forward. Straight to Mapimpi. Mapimpi's running up the midfield now. He's going to try and beat the players. Trying to step around. He's dancing his way forward. Still on his feet there. Did relatively well there, Mapimpi, just to get up midfield. Sharks now driving forward. It's coming to Lukanya, to Chamberlain. Chamberlain opts for the grubber in behind. Not sure that was the best option, but it's quite a good kick to be fair. It's right into the corner. My word. Bordeaux spilt it. I think Sharks might have scored. They're going to have to go up for this TMO. So for all I say, that wasn't the right option. I think Sharks might have scored from this. Bordeaux messing up a little bit right at the end. The ball almost went out, and I think they tried to leave it to go out, and as a result, had to just kick it in slightly. And I think Potgieter might have got there. We'll confirm. Just going back to the comments in the meantime, honestly, I put 450 rand on Mapimpi to score a try. I'm hoping, I'm praying. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money to put in that. Safe bet, I reckon, as well. But nonetheless, it's a lot of money. They only have 8 Curry Cup trophies after their name. Yeah, but I mean, it's Curry Cup. Like, come now. Like, Curry Cup is no longer a big trophy. Nobody cares. Denzel Mann saying Sharks try to play fast but keep making mistakes. Need to slow down. Langford saying it's a province for tourist holidays. Yeah. Albert van Lingen saying my loyalty ranking is Cheetahs, Lions, Sharks, Griquas, Mpumalanga, Bulls, Namibia, Stormers. I like how Namibia somehow finds itself in that list. Just looking at this try, no, ball's on the line. It's going to be deemed out, I think. So it should be a 22-meter, a goal line dropout, I think, as it is these days. Where's your Rohan Janssen van Rensburg? I think he's injured. No try. Carried back over. So it'll be a scrum, apparently, to the Sharks. I don't know how that works. Because Sharks were definitely the ones that touched it on the line. So it's a bit of an odd decision that. Nonetheless, Sharks will suddenly be very smiling and will be very smiley with the 5-meter scrum. So yeah, Sharks with another opportunity to score a try. Obviously, the last try came just off the back of a scrum. It was a free kick, and Jaden Hendrickson put it in the corner. So hopefully they can try and score another try here. Feels so bad for the Cheetahs, completely bankrupt. Yeah, well, Cheetahs and every other club in this country except for 3. Bulls, Sharks, and Stormers. They're the only ones with money. Lions got no money. Cheetahs, no money. The other smaller teams, no money. I mean, Dylan there saying you can buy 3 bottles of KGV 5 years with 450 bucks. Yeah, you can, but you can win more with 450 bucks. Sharks winning a penalty with the scrum. So I'm sure they should, if they're clever, opt for another scrum because they are really dominant in the scrum. Bordeaux really struggling to get any foothold in this area of the field. So Sharks actually opting to go for the line. So it'll be a line out, so I'm sure they're going to try and maul it over. If the Sharks get a bonus point, where will the position be on the log? If they get a bonus point, they should be second, obviously with Exeter still to play and with other teams still to play, but they should find themselves second on the Champions Cup log. That's a weird call. Yeah, it is a bit of a weird call. Hello, this is Lawrence. Sharks will win this Stormers twice when we play them. What? Oh, Sharks will beat the Stormers twice when you play them. Alright, okay. We're in administration. Yeah, Cheetahs are in administration. Sharks trying to get them all through. It's an advantage to them. Eventually, the ball goes over the... I don't think it has gone over the line, you know. Jaden Hendricks has received the ball there. And he's opted to dart himself. He's got himself a second try, Jaden Hendricks, in the opposite corner now. So Bordeaux really struggling to get themselves into this game at all. Sharks all over them, and this could get quite messy. As I said earlier, this could get very messy. Jaden Hendricks a little bit selfish there. Could have easily passed it off to Potgieter to score an easy try, but he darted himself. Did get it down, so at least you know, given the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, Jaden Hendricks with the second try for the Sharks. It's now 13-0. Bordeaux really struggling. They cannot get anywhere in this game. They're just permanently in their own half, borderline in their own 22 as well. Sharks all over them. And I do take my earlier statement back right at the beginning of the game. There is a very large crowd for the Sharks there today, and I take my hat off to all of them. There are a lot of people there in this crowd. It looks like 30,000 strong. It's a well packed Kings Park Stadium. So I take my hat off to you, Durbanites, for getting out there and supporting your team, because one of the main reasons we don't often play international rugby down there is because you don't sell out. So good on you guys for going off to the Champions Cup game. So Lionel Cronje now with his third kick of the match. Can he get this over? Can he slot this from the opposite corner? Now he really is kicking from everywhere at the moment. He steps up. He's turned. He seems happy. Ball goes straight down the center. Sharks 15 points. Bordeaux 0. Sharks with 2 points, 2 tries behind the name. Bordeaux unable to get a foothold at all in this game. Etzebeth arms are the size of my body. Well, how small must you be? Not to diminish the fact that Ibn Etzebeth's got huge arms. He looks injured. Who looks injured? I don't see anybody who looks injured. Funny enough, Sharks has the most supporters than any other team. Yeah, they do, because they've got a cool franchise name. But most of their supporters are actually based in Joburg, and it upsets me so much. So many Sharks supporters up here. It's disgusting. Then SA stadiums don't need to be bigger than 30k. They fill out nicely. Then yeah, I do agree. They are very big stadiums. The problem is that we like to make our stadiums big for the Springbok games, of course. But, you know, we could do the option that most overseas teams do, in terms of Europe, at least, where they've got one national stadium they play all their rugby in. Of course, you know, like the likes of Twickenham and Stade de France, etc., etc. They've only got one stadium. The only issue with that is, of course, you don't play around the country, and we quite like being able to play around in different stadiums. So it's bad when for our franchise rugby. There's no doubt 30,000 seater stadium would be fine, but when it comes to international rugby, it's a bit too small. And also, don't forget, we used to pack these stadiums all the time. The problem is the SA economy. So, you know, if our economy could somewhat recover and people got a little bit more money behind their names, you'd see these stadiums fill out. I mean, don't forget, rugby's a huge sport here. And if people can afford it, they'll go. And that's the big thing, is that people just haven't been able to afford to go to these experiences recently. Yeah, going back here. Sharks are playing a very tight-knit match. Should be a known problem for victory. Our Sharks very much in control. What happened to Bosch? I've actually got no idea. I'm assuming a late injury. I'm going to assume that is the reason why Curran Bosch finds himself outside the team, and Lionel Cronje came in from last minute. Bosch is a bad player. He used to be great, but he was too young when he peaked. I mean, it's harsh. I think that's harsh. I think any player can always come back. We've seen that, you know, with lots of our players in SA Rugby, that, you know, sometimes they go through bad patches and things. They eventually come right a little bit later on. But there's no doubt Curran Bosch hasn't really lived up to early expectation. But still a solid player. I don't think he's quite as talented as some of the other flyhalls we've got in our country at the moment. Monty Libbock's finally coming right and really, really doing well. We've got the likes of Jaden Hendrickse, not Jaden Hendrickse, Jaden Hendrickse's brother, Jordan Hendrickse, in the Lions, who's an exceptional talent as well, and that he could turn into a proper good Springbok. I mean, you could see in the future a Springbok pairing of Jaden Hendrickse and Jordan Hendrickse at 9 and 10, and that would be really, really great to watch. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, Bosch hasn't quite been as good as he should be, but Sharks winning another scrum, and I think Luke Pearce is now going to talk to them. He is indeed. He's warning them now. There's too many scrum penalties against Bordeaux, and I think that's their final warning. So Sharks winning the scrum penalty on their own 10-meter line, and now are going to opt to go for the touchline with their penalty. So Lionel Cronje gets the ball here. He's going to try and kick this as far as he can. He's going back to comments very quickly. SA economy won't ever recover, sadly. I mean, that's a bit harsh. You've got to be a little bit optimistic, but with current government and corruption, yeah, it's going to be unlikely. Beautiful kick, by the way, from Lionel Cronje, right up to almost the 5-meter line of Bordeaux. So forced right back into their 22, Bordeaux. So they're basically under threat of conceding yet another try. Stadium is built in a time when tickets were almost free. Yeah, it's true. But also, why are tickets so expensive? Wouldn't you rather have 40,000, 50,000 people in the stadium who are buying food and drinks and doing the whole experience, and then sponsors are there thinking, well, there's 50,000 people that are going to see all our things, versus making a ticket $100 where you're then going to maybe get 10,000 people if you're lucky. I don't understand the concept of making tickets so expensive sometimes. Sharks mess up their lineout, but very luckily Lionel Cunha recovers right at the back. Jaden Henderson making it quick. Eben Etzebeth supporting the ruck there. Jaden Henderson tries to go quickly. Trying to find Siakisi. Eventually finds him. Siakisi out the backhand, but not working. Bordeaux intercepted. Bordeaux now on the charge, but brought down very well in the end by Jaden Hendrickson. But it does now kicks up. Lekanya Am's trying to get this ball. Beautiful take. My word, that was heavy casual from Lekanya Am. Behind him, literally waiting for the ball to come from behind, and eventually takes the ball. So easy. Sharks with the ball in their own halfway line again. Thomas the Toy tries to get it through. Ball slips out. Mapimpi gets the ball. Tries to go up himself. He's taken down. Sharks recover. Oxenchair holding this ball up. Jaden Henship tries to grab it through. Doesn't get it, but he recovers the ball. I think Bordeaux... No, so comes eventually to Notche. Now Eben Etzebeth. Oh, backwards off Bordeaux, but nonetheless, Sharks still got the ball. Jaden Hendrickson coming up. Lekanya trying something. Mapimpi, a very quick pass, but was forward. And knocked on as well. So eventually this broken play ends. It'll be a scrum to Bordeaux on the halfway line near touch side. Going back to these comments quickly. Bosch is the only bad in wet weather, to be honest. He hasn't been terrible this year. No, he's not been. That's why I say. But he's not been exceptionally brilliant, let's be honest. You know, he's just done a good job. He's done his job, basically. Yeah, that's true, but he was expected to be the next Franz Steyn. Not quite sure he was ever expected to be like quite that good, but he was certainly, I think, had bigger expectations than what he's reached so far. LB, they could drop ticket prices and have more people in the stadium. Yeah. Unraveling. I'm not quite sure. What do you mean, Albert? What are we unraveling? So Sharks have made 196 meters compared to Bordeaux's 17. 1-7. It just sort of tells you how dominant Sharks have been, and like they should have scored a lot more points out of this first half now. They've really been all over Bordeaux. Yeah, but it just tells you how dominant Sharks have been. Bordeaux 17 running meters compared to Sharks 196. It's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? Dion here chipping in saying Montgomery realised this true potential in his latter years only. Following his stint playing in Wales, Bosch should maybe take a break from SA. Might just benefit for him, Percy Montgomery. Yeah, it's not wrong. As I say, you know, there are players that have proven, and yet again, it's a scrum penalty. It's going to be a yellow card. Oh, damn, there's a little bit of a scuffle here. Thomas the Toy finding issue with Luatua, I think it is. It's Vautua, sorry. So yeah, Virtua is about to get a yellow card. Indeed, he does get a yellow card. And he's pushing and shoving. He's very upset about life. And he finds himself in the sin bin for 10 minutes. So yeah, Sharks really dominating the scrum. Bordeaux finding themselves not only completely under pressure in this game, but now also down to 14 men. Yeah, Sharks are just all over Bordeaux. Langford there saying, I'm an expat living in the UK. I have brothers and sisters in SA listening to your live chat. Well done, mate. Appreciate your comments. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I can be of service to some people. Albert there saying the game is unraveling now. Ugly, no structure. Yeah, that's not true. It's very broken play, but that could suit the Sharks very well. Because they do have some very big flair players, of course, in that back line. So it could suit the Sharks quite well for a bit of a loss in structure. At least from Bordeaux. And also now, Sharks should be able to find some space on the wings. Ah, my word, but if they had to win the line-out first, Bordeaux win it back, immediately opting to kick it further upfield. It's going to be gathered here by, I think it's Chamberlain. Passed it off to Mapimpi, who's trying to come up. He's grabbing it through for himself. Siakisi's chasing. He's got the ball back. Siakisi inside the 22. Mapimpi's done well to go and get their support. Jaden Henderson passes it through to Thomas Dutoy. He tries to pass it on. Sharks trying to get it across the line. Eventually comes to the back line. Notche with the ball. He tries to dart himself. Not able to get through. I think he's passed the ball on. Camera angle shocking. Jaden Henderson just brought down from his hat trick. He almost got it just on the line. It's advantage to the Sharks. Literally on the line. Trying to come up. And it's a try to Sharks. There you go. Easy as you like. And I think there's another yellow card coming Bordeaux's way. Indeed there are. There are. My word. Sorry, I don't mean to mess up my English there. But oh my words. Lots of pushing and shoving from Bordeaux. They're very upset about life. Madosh Tambwe now finding issue. My word. It's a very, very feisty game now. Number 2 now for Bordeaux is yellow carded. So that is Menadier, who's been sent off as well. So Bordeaux now down to 13 men for literally almost 10 minutes. So Bordeaux really going to struggle now. This could be an onslaught in this next 10 minutes because Sharks are all over them anyway. Yeah, Bordeaux just completely falling to pieces. They need half-time so quickly. They really desperately need half-time because this is not going well for them at all. Jaden Henderson almost getting the hat-trick, just brought down right at the end. And eventually the ball comes out of the ruck. And it comes to Grobler, who puts the ball over for his first try of the game. So Lionel Cunha with the kick to come. Bordeaux find themselves 2 yellow cards down for almost the entire remaining half. So, yeah, this could get very ugly. Why is the stadium so bright? Can't even see spectators? I don't think that's the stadium's fault. I think it's just the sun at this time of day in Durban. Nice for the Sharks, Albert says. Then Tumbo could have been a Bok, but now he's feeling the pain. I'm not quite sure he would have been a Bok, given the wings that we've had over these past few years. I don't think he was going to be quite that level. But don't get me wrong, he's been quite a good player at times. Agree the lighting is subpar. Yeah, I mean, look, you can argue with the TV director if you want, but I'm not too concerned about seeing the crowd. I'm more concerned about watching the rugby. As long as I can see the rugby, it's all good. I do think the sun is just very harsh, to be fair. It's not really the TV director's fault. Ball comes for the restart. Comes to Noche. Tries to run it out. Does relatively well just to set himself nicely for a box kick here. Jaden Hendricks looking to get this ball out. Ball comes out. It's tried up and under, but I think it's going to go straight out. Indeed, it does go straight out. It's not a great kick at all. And he was inside his 22, so he could have tried to put a bit of distance on that. But nonetheless, Bordeaux now get their own line out just outside, well, about halfway between the Sharks 22 and the 10-meter line. So big discussions here. They're just trying to waste time, basically. I think the ref needs to be careful of this because they know they've got 2 yellow cards. And of course, their hooker and their prop are both yellow carded. So it's going to be the scrum half for Bordeaux who puts the ball in. I do think that was not straight, but nonetheless, the Bordeaux do get the balls as they played it short. And Bordeaux now just surely going to try and play some Bulls rugby and just drive it up the whole time and waste this time and try and get as much of these yellow cards minutes down as possible. I think it should be a more now, but it's eventually knocked on by Bordeaux, so it's going to be another scrum. And now they're going to need to make changes. They're going to have to make substitutions, tactical substitutions, because of course they are missing props. It's going to needs to be a new number 1 and a new number 2, I think. So Bordeaux needing to make changes as a result of the yellow cards. Langford here saying, wonder who will be man of the match, or maybe too early to predict. Far too early to predict. I think Jaden Hendricks is right up there for a shout, though. If we're going to talk about anyone in this first half, he's been sensational so far. Come to think of it, late afternoon sun is terrible at the stadium. Yeah, it is. As I said, it is also Durban, and sun is very bright in Durban. We're just having a bit of a stoppage in play here, just trying to sort out who needs to come on. Thomas the Tank has been playing really well. Yeah, he's been good. He's been very good in the scrum, I'll tell you that much. He's definitely been winning half these scrums for Sharks. Not to say that Ox has not been good, but Thomas has been very good in the scrum. But I do think Jaden Hendricks is probably the standout player this half. Probably 2 tries behind his name. Has been basically dictating the entire process for Sharks. Indeed, Bordeaux eventually do make these 2 subs. Luku for Bordeaux. That's their scrum half. It's also actually been all right for Bordeaux. It's about the only bright spark for them. But yeah, Bordeaux really struggling against the Shark side. You can just see the difference in class. Albert, they're saying, yeah, Jaden has been good. Yeah, yes, he's been very good. But I do see we've got 100 people watching here, and I would just like to know from the 100 of you, just to remind me, where are you watching from? I want to see. Are you Joburg? Are you Durban, Cape Town? Where are you? Are you overseas? What countries are we talking about? What time is it there? If you're like late countries, I'd be surprised. Yeah, just let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to know. I'll be there saying French players look like they can't stand the heat. I expected better from such a quality side. Yeah, it's not been a great game for them, but I mean, to be fair, they haven't been great in the Champions Cup so far. They haven't got a win behind their name. 2 games, 2 losses, and this looks like a sure loss again. Sharks somehow not being able to get dominance in the scrum, eventually coming through. But Sharks now trying to shift it through the line. They've got numbers. It comes to Chamberlain. Chamberlain's on the wing, passes out to Portgieter. He tries to come in on Madosh Tambwe, but Madosh Tambwe takes him down eventually just outside the Bordeaux 22. Jaden Hedges to pass to Ibn Etzebeth. Tries to charge up, not able to get too much ground. It's advantage to Sharks. Oh my word, Bordeaux in danger of getting more yellow cards. Oxenchair drives it forward. It's Thomas the Tank to toy with space. Now it's Vincent. He tries to pass the ball back. He was stumbling. Now, oh my word, Mapimpi made a poor decision there. He tried to feint the pass. He should have actually made it. Eventually the ball comes through to Jaden Hendricks. Vincent Tutuka wins it. It's out quickly by Grobler. It's Van Vuren. I don't know why Van Vuren's on. But Van Vuren's got the ball. He's passed it forward. Passed it through the back line. Eventually comes to Notche, to Am. They're all the way back outside the 22 now, Sharks. But Am eventually trying to dance his way forward. Oh, it's obstruction. So they're going to come back for the penalty, I think, against Bordeaux. And Bordeaux might well get another talking to here from the ref. Because there have been lots of penalties here against Bordeaux. Indeed, Luc Pierce is stopping it. And he's calling Lecu over. And he's saying, listen, mate, there's been far too many penalties now. I mean, Bordeaux could somehow find themselves down to 12 men before the end of this half. Luc Pierce is actually going after Lecu here. Because Lecu is claiming that he's been eye gouged. And now he's telling him that he says, if you think that's an allegation that you're making, then we're going to go look at the screen. But it's a very serious allegation you're making, so you got to be careful. Indeed, they are going to go up. I don't quite understand the refereeing here because he's just literally explained we don't do player referrals, but it's a very serious allegation being made, so we're going to look at the TMO. So he's literally just said one thing and gone with another. So I'll be very interested to see what happens here. Lecu reckons he's been eye gouged. That is the allegation that he's making. I do believe if Luc Pierce is going to call this and it's not an eye gouge, one has to question whether Lecu gets a yellow card because you can't do player referrals. What are we looking for? We're looking for an eye gouge, apparently. So Gary watching from Howick, Albert saying Cheetah's watching from Pretoria, Mark saying Perth. Oh, it's a bit late there, isn't it, to be watching? Dion saying Blackheath in Cape Town. Dave saying watching from Valencia, Spain. Aiden saying Australia, but born in SA. LB saying New Zealand. I was about to say, this must be very late for you. Terry saying Vryheid in KZN. Yeah. Nice mix of people from all over. Oh, my word. So we finally found the incident that Lecu is claiming. And it's when Mapimpi goes into a tackle and he tries to shove him off and apparently he claims he was eye gouged at the same time. I don't understand Luc Pierce's thinking here. Kaywood saying they're from Vancouver, Canada. Well, welcome, you Canadian. Hello, as they might say. Andre saying, hello guys, does anybody know when Muller du Plessis will make his debut for the Salty Sharks? Nobody knows, I don't think. So Luc Pierce, I don't know what we're waiting on now. And Sia Khaleesi, I think, is making an argument at the same time saying, well, what on earth are we doing here? Because what are we doing? I've never seen this before in all my years of watching rugby. Lecu makes an allegation. We're going to just listen in here. I don't quite understand how that's worked. So somehow Luc Pierce has allowed Lecu to make basically a player referral. I don't quite understand how that's all worked, but nonetheless, nothing's happened from it. But we have wasted about 3 minutes just waiting for this all to happen. So whatever, we continue. Lionel Cronier's now got the ball and he's going to kick it towards the corner with the penalty. And I do think if Bordeaux are not careful here, this could be another yellow card for them. Because, yeah, the penalties are just racking up. Just going back through these comments, people saying, Denswell saying from Mossel Bay, and Eric saying from watching from near Newcastle in the UK. Well, welcome, Brit. Lecu now has been a target on his back. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Sharks setting up the maul from their line out. They've got the numbers now, obviously. So, oh my word, hand comes in there from Bordeaux. So the balls come out. Lionel Cunha trying to shift the ball. He's knocked it on, I think. Oh, my word. Big stuff up from the Sharks. Massively stuffed up there. big opportunity and they messed it up completely. However, it is a scrum, and the scrums have not been working at all for Bordeaux, so this could be a scrum penalty to the Sharks going that way immediately. Albie's there saying, I think he's trying to give him a pimpy caught from that ruck after the tackle. The camera didn't catch it though. I reckon if it was after the original tackle and it was in the ruck, then fair. Oh, apparently it's not going to be a knock-on. Apparently it was offsides in the Sharks anyway, so Bordeaux get away with it there. They kick it all the way up to about the halfway line, so it should be their line output in the halfway line. Oh, it is offsides actually, I suppose, yes, judging from the way in which it plays, because if you knock on and you come from in front and collect the ball, then it isn't offsides. So correct decision from Luke Pearce there. Just going there. Martin is saying, watching from Josie, born in Durban as a surfer. Right. Well, lovely. Keep it coming, lads. Keep it coming, everybody. I would love to know where everyone's coming from. Oh, my word. Skew throw in for Bordeaux. Just nothing's going right for them this half. I think they'd be lucky to go into half-time at 22-0 because Sharks have somehow not managed to score more points with these 2 yellow cards. Bit of an odd one. Langford there saying, from Lincolnshire, UK, was living in Newcastle, KZN most of my life and supported the Sharks for many years. Go Boykies, get a win. Lincolnshire, that's interesting. Well, good to have you here. I'll be saying all of Durban lives in Josie Alameda. Yes, it is very true. Because there's no work in Durban, you Durbanites. Always coming here, stealing our jobs. No, I'm joking. Bill saying, I have absolutely no idea how to say it. It's Guelph? It's a Guelph, Ontario? Well, I was just going to say Ontario, Canada, 11 a.m. now. Yeah, so it's the morning for you guys. So you guys have got lots of your day left. So nice way to spend your Saturday afternoon. Oh, free kick to Bordeaux. Apparently Sharks pushing early. So Bordeaux getting the first little bit of luck out of the scrum there. Yeah, so Bordeaux's finding a little bit of favour now in these last 5 minutes. So trying to get back into this game. K-Wood's there saying Guelph. Guelph. Is that how you say it? Is that how you're supposed to say it, I assume? Martin is... Oh, my word. The penalty for Bordeaux, well, the free kick didn't go out. So Sharks now counter-attacking big time. They've got numbers on the wing here. Pimpy's passed it into Lionel... no, it's not, sorry. Jaden Hendrickson now taking the ball out, passing it through. Oh, my word. Lionel Cronje tries the chip over the top. Doesn't work. Bordeaux get the ball back. It's Lecoux who opts to kick forward again. Ball's gone in all the way in between. I think Chamberlain's going to have to recover here. Chamberlain inside his own 22, looks for the line. And not out at all. So Bordeaux will come back at him. And he's passed it through to the midfield. It's come to the number 10, but been taken down very easily by the Sharks. They're not rolling away. I think it might be penalised, but not indeed. Lecoux takes the ball out. And Bordeaux now trying to attack themselves. Just on the halfway line here. Sharks doing very well. The defensive work from Sharks has been unbelievable. Lucanio is over this ball, but it's a penalty against him. I don't think he's supporting his body weight. Apparently not rolling away. Oh, okay, it wasn't Lucanio who was penalised. It was Kobler. But penalty to Bordeaux, and I think Bordeaux may well go for post then, just on this halfway time, just to take up time. So going back to the comments here, Martin is saying, girls are also way prettier in Josie. That's a statement, isn't it? Albert there saying, lots of expats on here. Very, very hot in SA. It is boiling at the moment, just by the way. In case all of you are watching from wherever you are, if you want to know what it is like in SA at the moment, it's damn hot. Really, really hot. Kaywood they're saying, not as hot as in Canada. Ooh. What's the Canada temperatures there? I know you guys are a little bit further north. Surely it shouldn't be that hot, surely. And it's winter time. How is it hot? Oh, but they're saying Sharks not taking advantage of those yellow cards. You know, they didn't, eh? Shocking, really. And they should have easily scored another try there. I'll be saying Bordeaux just won the yellow cards battle. They did indeed. And it's quite important to do so. And with 2 yellow cards behind them, having not conceded nearly as many points. I think they conceded 1 try immediately, pretty much. But that was it. And the kick is wide. Very wide of the mark. But I think they were just looking to try and take up time. So Bordeaux still find themselves without any points going into halftime. Sharks 22, Bordeaux 0. Bordeaux had 2 yellow cards around about the 30-minute mark. Sharks very much comfortably in the lead here. But that is half-time. Please do stay with us. Just go get yourself a cup of tea or get some biltong, some chips out. Just take a little bit of a break. I will be back with you in about 10 to 15 minutes time for the second half. Until then, I am going to take a small break. And I'm going to just get some water for myself because, you know, lots of talking here. I do need to get a little bit of sustenance. But do stay here and be sure to join me for the second half. I'm quite happy to have a chat, and let's chat about anything else, and just leave a couple of questions for me maybe at halftime. I'll come back and I'll try and answer them when I can. Perfect, guys. Yeah, I'll see you now.
I found a picture we took many years ago, when I said to you we would never grow old. Messages I've saved that I never send, cause I don't know you, but I used to back then. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promised all these years we'd pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here after all this time. Found yourself a way out of this small town. Got a place at school you didn't hang around. Every day you're far away, these streets don't feel the same. Everywhere is painted with your name. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promised all these years we'd pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here after all this time. I remember that I was drunk out my mind when we kissed for the first time. In the back of your car we passed out counting stars. Promised all these years we'd pack our things and disappear. I never thought I would see you here. Try to replace you with somebody out there. If I didn't chase you, would you even care? And if I lost my mind, would you come around? I will keep you safe and sound after all this time. Out of your mouth you wish you someone else. I miss you, but I know you miss your old self too. Forever once golden
sound, back to the sound. Sound, back to the sound.
Well, maybe I'm done, maybe I've lost. Still putting up a fight because I love my mom, I love my family. When I was young, they would all look after me. I don't know why, but I feel like a burden. I spent my life overthinking my purpose. Can't really cry, I'm so used to the hurt. Trauma keeps flipping me at the wrong moment. Oh, I just wanna numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain. Numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain.
A broken glass while I'm thinking in my head. I mind my own, I don't even break a sweat. Oh, is insane. Why you still live in vain? I'm not the one, you're the victim of your own mistakes. It's sad to hear the lights under the street. this is insane. Why you still live in vain? I'm not the one, you're the victim of your own mistakes. It's sad to hear the lights under the street lights, under the street lights. Rise up from the ashes, wings on my back, stay lit like a matchstick. We ain't coming back, I swear. Just let go.
Alright, and we are back for the second half. Bordeaux is currently running out onto the field, and they should have both the yellow cards back, I think, actually, after the amount of time that took. So, should be back to their full contingent, but nonetheless, I think they've got a lot of work to do in the second half to try and come back to the Sharks team, because the Sharks are just all over them. And Khaleesi leads out that same Sharks team that I'm talking about, back out onto the field. Doesn't look like there are any changes at half times. There shouldn't be. Yeah. Just going back through these comments here that I saw at halftime. I saw some of them, don't get me wrong. I'm not ignoring them. There was one from Michael saying early morning in Adelaide. Adelaide? Adelaide? Maybe Adelaide. I think it's supposed to say Adelaide. I don't know. But yeah, I'm keen for a Bryce, some people are saying. And yeah, Aiden, more to the point, talking about your bet, your 450 Rand bet that you've got just lying on Mapimpi right now. So if that doesn't happen, what a terrible day for you. If it does happen, though, you'll be smiling. So I think we're just about underway, getting ready to get underway. Luke Pierce now getting ready to get the second half underway. Sharks are now kicking off from left to right for the second half. And yeah, keep the comments coming, keep the conversation going, people. I will answer any questions. Just spam me with chat. It's fine. I'll go over it at some point. Don't you fret. I will see your comment at some point. As Luke Pierce does blow his whistle, Lionel Cunha kicks off, and we are into the second half of Champions Cup action. Tambwe catches the ball for Bordeaux, and Luku is going to try and regather and box kick this. It looks like it's going to be a very long box kick. My word. I mean, we've got 6 players in this ruck for Bordeaux, 7 players. Luku just opting for the territory part, not even trying to get the ball out. It's gone all the way back to Chamberlain, I think it is, on the wing here. Chamberlain kicking to the far side for, I think it's Mapimpi to chase. I don't know. Oh, no, it's not. It's the centre there. Khaleesi helping to try and ruck over. I think Bordeaux might be a little bit in trouble here. Luku eventually regathers the ball for them and then try to spread it through the line. It's about the halfway line, Bordeaux with possession. So Bordeaux actually doing relatively all right there. Trying to spread the line now. Great defense from Eben Etzebeth, gathering and munching him up there very nicely. Almost able to get over. Luku having to opt for the kick behind again. I mean, the possession stats must be ridiculous. Because I think Sharks have had about 80% of the possession. I'm not even joking. And it's ridiculous. Chamberlain's kicked the ball up. Bordeaux, however, running straight back at them. Camera angles here are very interesting. Luku trying to bring it up now. Bordeaux getting a bit of a better start to the second half than they had in the first half already, showing a bit more promise to their play. On the Sharks' 10-meter line now with ball in hand, showing a little bit more ingenuity in terms of what they're doing. Trying to grab it in behind. It's quite a good kick, and Mapimpi's just had to watch it go out. Not able to get this ball. Tambo tries to regather and see if he can take it quickly, but of course not going to. Luke Pierce blows his whistle. I think there's going to be some subs coming on here. Indeed, Bordeaux making some subs. Or at least not necessarily subs, but the yellow cards are coming back onto the field. So Bordeaux completely back up to their contingent, I believe. So back up to 15 players. So Sharks not doing as well as they could have done. And yeah, so Bordeaux did grab that ball into the Sharks 22 meters area, Ingle area, well, the 22 meter area, and it is a Sharks line out, but not in their most comfortable position. So Sharks going to have to make sure they don't mess up around here. Oh, and Bordeaux stolen it, so I speak about that. Bordeaux's had a much better start to the second half than they had the entire first half. It's probably the best piece of rugby they've played these opening couple of minutes. Now, on the Sharks 22, Bordeaux find themselves trying to charge it up, finding a much better go forward. They just seem like a revitalized team after this halftime. Lecoux just dictating here. They're passing it through the line. Sharks doing well to defend that there. But Bordeaux still managing to get a bit of purchase here. And eventually the ball comes there and tackle is eventually made. Lecoux slows the ball down, passes through the back line. Backline's trying to pass it through the tackles as well. It's great little run there, but Sharks look like they're over this, but they're off their feet. So I think it's advantage to Bordeaux. Penalty against Sharks. Indeed, penalty against Sharks for not rolling away. I'd actually think it would be more not on their feet. And Sharks chatting to them, so Luke Pearce gives them 10 meters. So Sharks doing very, very stupid things there. Lukhanyo Am's not very happy about something on his face. I think he's a bit sore from something. But Luke Pearce now awarding the penalty to Bordeaux. Very close to the Sharks' 5-meter line here. So, yeah, Bordeaux could possibly try and get some points onto the board for the first time in this game. I see I've got a very lonely chat box. Nobody's chatting back to me. This is very upsetting. Come on, people. Let me know your thoughts. Hey? So Bordeaux are 22 points down. They've really struggled to get into the Sharks' half. Finally got a bit of purchase, and they're going for a kick. Don't get me wrong, get some points on the board. I'd always say go for the kick, but it's just their kicking has been garbage. It is much closer, and he does nail it, Lecoux. So, finally, Bordeaux find themselves on the scoreboard. Sharks have got 22 points, Bordeaux 3. Aiden, they're finally giving me a little bit of something to look at and says, come on, Mapimpy. So, yes, we know that you are riding a lot on Mapimpy, so it'd be very awkward if you got an early sub. Why didn't who now? Sorry, Michael here saying, why didn't go line come on? I'm not quite sure what you mean. You might have to just elaborate for me. Sorry, I'm not quite understanding. Albie there saying, Sharks need to calm down, man. Stop chatting to the ref. Yeah, oh my word. What a hit from Eben Etzbeth from the restart. Bordeaux managed to regather nicely though, but Eben Etzbeth knocking the ball out of Bordeaux's hands. Lecoux trying to organize his troops. Comes to the fly half, opting for a kick. It's not the greatest kick, so Sharks will be happy with that there. It's just the ball's gone out just outside the 10-meter line inside the Bordeaux half. So Sharks now with a little bit of an opportunity to have their own attack. Albert, they're saying, what did Bordeaux have at halftime? Yeah, it's a good question. Probably a little bit of wake up and smell the roses because you're actually playing a rugby game. So we'll see. Gary, they're saying, it's as if when we get good lead, we slacken a bit. So to the box. We need to be like New Zealand to continue to keep up the pressure. Yeah, Sharks just struggling a little bit here. Siaklisi comes out from the line out. It's good rucking from Bordeaux, though. They've managed to get the ball back, I think, unless they've played the ball on the ground. Somehow this ball is in Bordeaux's possession. Lecoux opts to kick in behind. There's lots of space in behind, so Sharks got to regather and recover here very quickly. And the ball has actually gone out. It's a great kick just outside the Sharks 22. It's fantastic play from Bordeaux. Yeah, doing very well this second half so far. Sharks needed to wake up as well for themselves now. Langford saying, how they say calm before the storm, lol. 100%. Michael saying, should have went for the try. Oh, yes, okay. Yeah, I do agree. Why didn't they go for the line? Yeah. It's a bit of an odd one, but at least they do have some points on the board. So now they can at least say, you know, we're a little bit closer to where they should be. And they are now within 3 scores, of course. That does make a big difference. They are within 3 scores. However, they do need to score 3 times in order to get this. So, yeah, we'll see. Sharks with the line-out. Very, very well executed line-out. Eben Etzbeth catches at the back. The maul is moving forward already. Let's see if they can try and regather. It hasn't actually worked as well for Sharks today as it should have. And they're trying again, but also not getting much purchase. This Bordeaux pack is big, of course, don't forget. So, oh my word, Bordeaux doing very well to win the ball back from the maul. Jaden Henderson not able to get the ball out. Now Bordeaux within the Sharks' 22-meter line, and they're passing it through the line. They've kicked it behind. It's almost a good kick. And Chamberlain done very well there just to regather. I'm not quite sure why they kicked it. They should have just passed it through the line, but nonetheless, decent idea. But Chamberlain getting underneath there, marking the ball, and able now just to have an under no pressure kicking for the line as he's about to kick now. Michael now saying Leinster Storm is different class in the URC. Yeah, it is true. URC wise, you know, it's both teams doing very, very well. But I mean, also, you know, we are now into our second year of European rugby. with regards to South African teams. And I'd love to know people's thoughts. You know, is this working for us? Is this a much better situation for South African rugby? Being involved with all of the northern teams and being in the Champions Cup, etc., rather than being in the old Super Rugby tournaments. And do we reckon that New Zealand and Australia and the likes, that side, are going to actually start seeing a bit of a decline as a result of not being with the South African sides? Because obviously, money-wise, they're not getting nearly as much as they got before, because South Africans brought in a lot of money into the Super Rugby leagues. So, you know, do we reckon that also as a result of lacking our competition that they're going to struggle, or are we going to be the ones that struggle? I would love to know what are people's thoughts with regards to the complete change in rugby across the world in the last 2 years in terms of who we all play against. Meanwhile, of course, Bordeaux is still with the ball and doing very, very well here to try and just put pressure on the Sharks and trying to find some purchase. I mean, for the first time, they've got a lot of possession. I mean, this entire half so far, they've been all over Sharks. Just outside the Sharks' 10-meter line now, Bordeaux with the ball. Luku passing it through the back line. There's got a little bit of space here. Cleese doing very well to close the gap there. Sharks still not able to get the ball. Luku unable to think of what to do. Passes eventually to his forwards. And he's going over Thomas du Toit. I think he's got the ball, but it's a penalty against him for not supporting his body weight, I think, or / not releasing. Yeah, he's saying not supporting his body weight. Almost did well there, Thomas du Toit. But penalty now again to Bordeaux. And I'll be interested to see what Bordeaux do here. Will they try and have an attempt to kick a goal? I think they are. Yeah, they are indeed. So, yeah, Bordeaux starting this half very, very well. Pure pressure is all that takes, mate. Sharks must be careful. Yeah, Sharks need to wake up a little bit here. Bordeaux have really come into the second half fighting. Andreas said, we appreciate your candor. No, joking. I can see there was a little typo there. Michael saying, too early to tell how SA will do in the Heineken Cup. I don't think it's too early to tell. But just being involved with these teams must surely be a benefit. Andrea eventually then saying SA should get back into Super Rugby, I think. Okay. That's the thought there. Dave saying New Zealand suffered already as a result. Series at home lost to Ireland. Just true. Jean-Ren Null saying Sharks beginning to lose their edge. Yeah, indeed they are. They need to recover this game. Bordeaux kick at goal. Oh my word, it's a shocker. It's a shocking kick. That's also why I was saying why didn't they go for the line, because he can't kick, Luku. He's missed 3 kicks, I think, today so far. That's shocking. So Sharks get away with one there. It's on the 50-minute mark, and Sharks need to wake up here. Going back to these comments here, Sean Afal saying, I find the benefit with Island Nations, they now get a team in a tournament which helps grow the game. Not quite sure which tournament you mean. I'll be there saying SA needs to increase salary caps so the squad numbers can be increased. I think the salary cap will always increase per season, to be fair. It's all about how much finances come in. Bordeaux trying to come with this ball forward again. It's Madosh Tambwe on the halfway line, trying to dance his way through. He eventually does find a little bit of space. He manages to get up to the 10-meter line for Bordeaux. So Bordeaux again, really coming forward here. Sharks need to be a bit nervy here. I mean, Bordeaux could have a little surge here. But they still haven't got many points on the board, of course, with that same surge. Trying to come through with the number 8. Luku takes the ball back for the back line. Back line trying to pass it through. Good defense from Mapimpi there. But Luku still managing to get the ball out of the ruck for Bordeaux. Big hit in midfield. Bordeaux now struggling a little bit for ideas. They try to kick it forward. There's a little bit of a late tackle there after the kick, but Sharks recover. It's Lionel Cronje now. Sharks try to come forward to the ball. It's Chamberlain with the ball. He's passing it through. The kick comes through. Mapimpi tries to chase, but it's a grubber straight up the centre of the field, and Bordeaux come with it very easily. It's an up and under from Bordeaux. He's coming forward nicely. It's a good chase. Oh, it's taken out in the air. It's borderline. I mean, I don't think it'll be a yellow card. Just taken out in the air. But it is taken out in the air from Bordeaux on Sharks. I'm not sure who it was that went up. I think it's Chamberlain. But Chamberlain's basically play acting here. It's really irritating me. I can't stand it rugby players when they do this. He's definitely just trying to give him a yellow card. I don't think he's injured at all. Yeah, I might be eating my words, and I could be very, very very mean here, but I do feel at worst he's winded. But I don't feel he's properly injured here at all, Chamberlain. It doesn't look like he landed badly. I need to see a replay, but it didn't look like he landed too badly. I think he should be up in 2 seconds. It's not that sore landing. I think he needs to get up here a little bit if he can, of course, but Heavy fall, but it's rugby. Come now, you can get up from that. Going back to these comments here, good to be in the Northern Hemisphere, and I do think New Zealand and Australia are going to suffer if not having the physical side to the game. Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is the physicality is not as much anymore. Craig saying Dublin, Ireland, good to have you here. Sean saying Gary van Heerden, good to have you. Shot Sean, tell you clearly mates. We're all good, yeah, just a penalty of course in this game here. Dave saying Super Rugby was great when everybody played everybody else. I like the format of the URC. I think the URC is a very good tournament. I think it really does suit us quite well. Sean there saying, Sean saying Super Rugby gets Island Nation teams now, which is a good exposure. Yeah, it is very good for Fiji and things like that, for that Island Nations team. It's a great thing for them, but I don't know if it benefits New Zealand all that much. Langford saying all depends on sponsorships in SA to keep top rugby clubs going. Stadium support and ticket sales is part of keeping the top teams adrift. Yeah, it's true. And Sharks are making a sub. Yeah, I see Notches coming off on the 51-minute mark, and I think that is also Grobler who's coming off. Indeed, it is. So I think Andrews will be on now for the Sharks. Chintuka goes up in the line out. Comes to Lionel Cunha, passing through the line. Lukanya, Rohan Jans van Rensburg does find himself onto the field again. There's an off-the-ball hit in the Sharks here. I think they might have to come look at that. Mapimpi trying to come up with the ball as well. Jaden Hendrickson now recovering from the back, passing it into the midfield. Eben Etzebeth hitting the ruck as well. Jaden Hendrickson eventually finding that ball. Lionel Cunha passing to Lukanya, trying to make up his mind. Passes eventually backwards. Comes to Pepsi Buthelezi, who's now finds himself on the field forward. Not sure. And Mapimpi finds himself midfield trying to dance his way through, not able to do anything really. Jaden Henderson now passing the ball out. Van Vuren takes the ball up. Bordeaux trying to win this ball back, and it's penalty for not running away against Bordeaux right in front of the post for Sharks if they want to go for the 3-point option, but I think they might well go for the line. So Sharks trying to come back into this game, basically, and they do go for the line. Lionel Cunha is opting to go for the line. Looks to be a decent kick, yeah. So Sharks should try, and if Sharks can get a try here, it should kill all of Bordeaux's confidence that they got from halftime. But yeah, I tell you, Bordeaux came out a lot better. It was a much better contest in these 15 minutes in the second half now. Obviously, I don't know what had happened in their team talk, and they're making 3 big subs here. Forward subs coming on for Bordeaux. So we'll see how this also affects the game. Sean asking everybody else a question, and I'll chip in as well. What has everybody else thought of the first time in Champions Cup? Well, I'll try and let some people answer in the comments first, and then I'll give my 2 cents if you're wanting to listen. Sharks going for the short line out. It could work. He's over the line, but I think it's held up. Very obviously held up. Yeah, it is indeed held up. There's an interesting little maneuver for Sharks. It's held up over the line, which means under new rules, that'll be a in-goal dropout. I don't know what's happening here, but none of these players are getting up. I think they were just making sure they held onto the ball there. Yeah, so it should be an in-goal dropout now for Bordeaux as a result of that. So Bordeaux able to get up with this. Tambwev's definitely finding issue with the Sharks today. He's having lots of words with them, which is quite interesting for a person who's, of course, losing quite badly in this game. So, just a reminder, Sharks are currently 22 points to Bordeaux's 3. Bordeaux are still sitting with a yellow card for some reason. I don't think that's accurate. I think that's just a mistake on the TV screen. Oh my word, Lionel Cunha goes for the drop goal. It's just gone to the left. I think it had distance, but just missed. So it'll be a 22-meter dropout now for Bordeaux. But I mean, an interesting idea for Lionel Cunha there. It is the big danger with these... was it even Lionel Cunha? I think it was Chamberlain. It was Chamberlain. Sorry, you went for it. But it is a big danger with these in-goal dropouts now, is that you've got so much time as the kicker on the halfway line that you can go for the drop goal attempt. So Sharks receive it again. It's Pepsi Buthelezi, who's trying to drive up. Does relatively well. And Sharks now trying to grab it through. It's a great little maneuver. It's being held back though, I think somebody. Chamberlain was held back, but Jaden Hendricks has managed to recover the ball. passed it backwards, but they're going to come back for a penalty. I think it's against Bordeaux. Indeed, it was. He was pulling back Jaden Hendricks very, very easily. Not Jaden Hendricks, Butter Chamberlain was being held back. So a penalty against Bordeaux. Quite a cynical one. I'm surprised he wouldn't actually go and have a chat. Gary there's saying, we needed to find our feet first. We have now. All SA teams are in the top 10 the last time I looked. You're talking about Champions Cup or for URC? Because it's for Champions Cup, we've only had like 3 games. This is the 3rd game from this weekend. So not had too many games to judge ourselves on. And Bulls have won 1, lost 1, and Sharks have won both of theirs, and they're looking very well for their money to win a 3rd. So can't say we're needing to find our feet too much yet. Langford saying maybe Chamberlain should play football. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Fortunately, his antics were a little bit much in that little piece of play. I might be very mean, but he did look like he was messing around a bit. Gary then saying both. I think in URC the original part we needed to find our feet a little bit. We were struggling, but I do think it's a tournament which really suits us in terms of viability for our future rugby, because it's bringing in a lot more money, which is why you see all the big names South Africans coming back into the country, where for a long time we didn't have half the Springboks playing in the country. We had most of them playing overseas, and it was a bit awkward for the Springbok setup, but now we've managed to regain most of them. I think what I would love to see, which would really help SA Rugby, and not just my team, the Lions, but really SA Rugby, is to see the likes of Lions get a new owner. Because currently they're owned by, I can't remember what his name is, but he owns Glassford. And at the moment, the issue is Lions do not have money to invest into their team. They go and get youngsters, but that's about it. And it's a real problem that Lions can't keep the players that they groom into great players. You know, we've become the academy of SA Rugby. You basically, Lions make a really good player, and then one of the richer clubs, being Stormers, Sharks, or Bulls, decides to buy them, and then Lions are left again to try and make a player good again. You know, at one stage, Lions had some unbelievable players in their team. And I think what would be really cool for SA Rugby and for the Lions is if Lions got a new owner and got some bit of investment, and try and get some of the old Lions guard back, some of the Springbok Lions players that are still playing overseas, the likes of Faf de Klerk, the likes of Malcolm Marks, Franco Mostert, those sort of name players in the Lions side of 2016 to 2018, that ridiculous Lions side that we had. If you saw a new owner come in, you would see some really big name Springbok players hopefully come back to the Lions, and then you've got 4 franchises who are rocking Springboks left, right, and centre, and I think that would be really, really great to watch for SA Rugby. LB saying, oh wow, now you know how Province feels. Oh please, Province have not had that same sort of issues as Lions. No, don't, I'm not listening to that. No ways am I listening to that. Province have not nearly had as many players leave their club as Lions have. Lions in one season lost 14 players. 14. You can't compete. Like, I agree, Province have lost a few players to Bulls and Stormers recently, and to overseas, of course. But the people who are always affected the most are often Lions. They really struggle to hold on to their players because they just don't have the money for them. I mean, look at Lions. Made a great play out of Vincent Chituka. What happened? Sharks will take you. Thank you very much. Easy as you like. Nonetheless, we finally got rugby playing again. We had a big, long water break or whatever there. So Sharks got a line out going. And the maul is finally working for the Sharks. They're coming forward nicely here. Got some good go forward. It's advantage to the Sharks as well. They're still trying to come forward. Jaden Hedges eventually takes it out. Gets a scrappy pass away. It comes back to Lukanya Arm, who tries to twist and turn his way through 3 defenders. Still advantage as Luke Pearce holds his arm out. Vincent Tutuka acting as scrum half. Sharks trying to come forward to the Bordeaux's 22 here. Vincent Tutuka just takes it from the ruck and goes. Gets a little bit go forward. Jaden Hedges to pass to Lionel Cognier, who puts it through. Rohan Jans van Rensburg looked to have been blocked there, but they'll come back for the penalty nonetheless against Bordeaux. Albert's saying it'll come money-wise. We'll take a few seasons, but the North will bring in big players back. I mean, they will eventually, but the problem is Lions will still not be able to have the financial means to hold on to those players, because the more money SA Rugby makes from the Northern Hemisphere teams, the more money the other rich teams in this country, the likes of Bulls and Storm and Bulls and Sharks, will just continue to buy them, because you see Sharks have got a huge backing from that big media agency who sponsors Sia and a whole lot of players. I've forgotten who the name. I think the Rock. No, it's not Rock. What are they? Somebody remind me. But you know that big media agency. They've got a huge backing from them, which is why they've got so many Springbok players back into the Sharks. And of course, Bulls. We don't even talk about the fact that they've got Johan Rupert and Patrice Motsepe as their owners. So lots of money in the Bulls side as well. So that's the issue, is that for all that Lions might make some cash from the Northern Hemisphere, they're not going to have enough money to buy big name players back. There's no ways, because they just don't have the financial muscle power to invest into the team. I think Bordeaux may well see a yellow card here. Been a few penalties, and that was an early hit on the line now. It's a bit dangerous, actually. It was a very early hit. It's a yellow card indeed. I don't think Bordeaux know who it's to. Eventually they decided. But yeah, Bordeaux very obviously receiving yellow card here. Luku talking to you. I'm just going to listen in. He's speaking French, but luckily I'm good enough at the French to understand what he said. Basically saying there's far too many penalties in the dead zone area, and if there's any more, you're just going to see more cards go to the bench. Sort it out. That's basically more or less what he said. So that's your multilingual here. I'm acting as if I know French. I don't know French, but I can somewhat see what he basically said. I'm just going back to these comments here. So Sharks do have a line out on the 5-meter line here. Going to try and score another try, maul it over, I'm sure. Actually, it looks like they're going to go for the scrum. It's a bit of a weird one. They just got a yellow card, Bordeaux, from the line-up maneuver. Now they're going to go for a scrum. I suppose they are short, of course, in the scrum now. So actually, I'm being stupid. That is clever. Because now you just spread it out wide. They'll have the numbers easy as you like. Just quickly before the scrum starts, I'm going to try and get to a comment or two. I would, however, argue that Western Cape is the premier breeding ground of talent. The inability of WP or Stormers to retain some exceptional players is a huge frustration for some local fans. I mean, I would agree that they do make a lot of good players, but I think Lions can also have that. Because Lions, of course, they've got Monument who's feeding them, and they do buy a lot of the big name players from schools as they leave. I think Lions and Stormers can definitely argue it out for who's a bigger breeding ground. Sharks get this ball out the scrum. Eventually, Pepsi Buthelezi tries to motor up the midfield, not able to get through. Jaden Hendricks a pass to Thomas du Toit, knocks it on. Backwards, says Luke Pierce. There's a lot of dodgy calls there. Comes to Potgieter on the wing, but it's a great tackle from Bordeaux. Bordeaux trying to defend this well here. Jaden Hendricks eventually getting this ball out. She took it now with the ball. Ball comes back to Jaden Hendricks, passes it through to the midfield, and it comes through to Rohan Jans van Rensburg, who almost finds space. He pops it up to Sia Khaleesi, who's going to run through by himself. He's popped it back, but I don't know if Sharks have managed to get it. It's a try. Great piece of try. I mean, the amount of offloads in the tackle there was brilliant to see from Sharks. Great try. Great try. Eventually scored. I'll confirm. Eventually scored there by Potgieter. Potgieter, the one scoring the try there, minus Potgieter. First try in this competition, in his first appearance as well. So, great for the Sharks. And Bordeaux do find themselves really struggling again. They had a good recent... Rock Nation, that's the one. Thank you. Thank you very much for that comment there. Rock Nation, that's who Sharks are backed by. But yeah, great try from the Sharks there. Sia Khaleesi eventually popping it up just for Potgieter to go over. And Potgieter does very well against two defenders just to get that ball down. So Sharks firmly in front again. Great little pickup by Sia Khaleesi there. Great play. This try is made by Sia Khaleesi. I mean, don't get me wrong. Rohan Jans van Rensburg managed to make a good dart through the middle, but Sia Khaleesi makes that try. Just going back to these comments here. SA Rugby is making no money from Heineken Cup for the first 2 years, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's quite the case. You'll find certain deals or whatever, if that is, if like there's a statement that's said like that, you'll always make money from these sort of competitions. Bill is saying travel obligations for box playing in the URC is too onerous for their families. I mean, that's sport, unfortunately. You only play sport for 10 to 12 years in rugby at least. It's not that long a career usually. And I mean, you get the same sort of instances in other sports as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's much longer flights for rugby now with the URC going up this way. I mean, they're technically shorter than Super Rugby, but you still have these sort of things. I don't think it's too onerous. I think that's the sport you're getting yourself into. Restarted nonetheless, and Jaden Hendrickson kicks the ball out. The camera work is fantastic. That's sarcasm, by the way. Who knows where this ball's gone? Eventually, it's gone out, I think. Yeah. Rock Nation, Rock Nation, Rock Nation, not Rock Nation. RSC Nation. Well, it's the same thing, people. Yes. Oh, yeah, sorry. You're just correcting yourself. Sorry. I take it all back. Langford there saying the URC are wanting all SA competition, otherwise it would not be worth watching. I hope I'm not too negative. Nah, I don't think that'll happen. Christian there saying, lol, if you want a quick break, just tell Luke Pierce someone tried to eye gouge you with a handoff while you're on defense. 100% from the first up. I still don't understand how that happened. It's the most bizarre piece of rugby I've ever watched in my life. Sia Khaleesi trying to drive it up. My word, Sia Khaleesi here like a backline player, passing it through to Pepsi Buthelezi. Both of them just doing unbelievably well up midfield from the midfield there. Sia Khaleesi acting a bit like a backline player. Here comes Mapimpi. Could this be a try? He's trying to block off two players. He's come up just short. Not able to get over. Pass off to Chamberlain. Chamberlain tries to pop the ball over. Potgieter goes in for his second. Sharks very much in control now. Sharks put it on in the corner. 32-3 to the Sharks with the kick to come. My word, Sharks are all over Bordeaux. Bordeaux can't keep up. They really can't. They're really struggling here. That's all made by Sia Khaleesi yet again. He's had a brilliant second half, Sia. I mean, just showing his class, I think. And Carly Sardi's also found himself onto the pitch. Kaywood, they're saying, imagine if all the players could do referrals. I know. You'd never see the end of it. Sia Khaleesi breaking a tackle there, motoring forward at a rapid pace, then getting the pass off to Pepsi Buthelezi, who then also does well to support. And then eventually the ball comes down to the ruck from Pimpy, and they just spread the ball over the top there. Chamberlain does well to find the pass off to Potgieter there, and down in the corner. Tell you, there's a lot of fans at Sharks. I'd love to know the attendance today. It's actually very impressive. It's probably the most full stadium I've seen for the Sharks this entire season. Christian saying, Aiden there saying, screw Potgieter, just bloody passed the ball to Mapimpi. Yes, I know you've got a lot of money on that. My word, that is one of the worst kicks I've ever seen in my life from... that is a shocking kick from, I think it's Chamberlain to kick that. Nonetheless... Christian there saying players aren't allowed referrals. He made an exception for potential eye gouging. Should be a warning at least, or a yellow card for time wasting. As I said, that's what I said at the time. I said one surely has to say to Luku for the allegation that you've got to back it up. If it's not backed up, that's you then with a yellow card, because really, Langford they're saying yellow cards won't work positively for a team. No, they won't. I mean, the discipline of Bordeaux has been shocking. They've been all over the place. They cannot stop getting yellow cards. I mean, they've played more of this match with less than 15 men than with 15 men. You can't play rugby with not a full team the whole time. Albert, they're saying, no, it's not happening. Big score coming. Ian saying, in the old days when Louis Late was in charge of Transvaal Rugby, Transvaal had the best players. No, the Lions now how it feels like not to have money for players. Yeah, I know. So I was reading your English there. Not insulting, you're just trying to make sense of it. Do make sense though? Yeah, it is that sort of thing. Just Lions don't have the money to hold on to their players. It's such a problem. I mean, if you see one of Lions' big talents, again, in recent years, Carl Lusardi found himself onto the field for the Sharks here. Great prop, and now he's in the Sharks side. And not just that, but of course, in the centres now coming off the bench again is Rohan Janssen van Rensburg. Great talent there, who obviously went overseas first, but now has gone back to Sharks. But you see, these are all these big-name players the Lions had that they've lost in recent years, and that's just literally a fraction of the players they've lost in total. Is Khaleesi sponsored by Red Bull as well? I don't think so. I'll confirm that, but I don't think he is. Langford there. Be massive scrum from the Sharks there, but somehow Bordeaux still managed to get the ball. Luke Pierce almost on the way there, but Bordeaux still got the ball. Comes to Luku, he gets taken down. And Carl Lusardi's won the ball back for Sharks, done very well. Sia Khaleesi now comes away with the ball, comes to Rohan Janssen van Rensburg. And now Potgieter finds himself on the ball again. I think he's managed to go out, unfortunately, just past the halfway line. Sharks almost doing very well there. Bordeaux go quickly, they take it quickly through Tambwe. Passing through, comes to Luku. Now passing across the back line. They found a bit of space here, Bordeaux. Comes to the centre, he's got lots of space to run. All the way into the Sharks 22 already. Eventually brought down. Vincent Chatuka trying to win this ball back, not able to. Bordeaux passing this ball through their line very quickly. It's broken play, and there's a huge gap, and they're going to score. They're going to get... Oh, great tack from a Pimpy. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. How did Bordeaux not score? How did they not score? Great tackle from Mapimpi. Great tackle from Mapimpi. I thought he was through. But Mapimpi just manages to get back here and cause the issue. Just gets the ball and passes, and the pass has just not managed to make Madosh Tambo's hands, and as a result gone out. Fantastic defense from from Mapimpi. Great defense. They're stopping that try from being scored. Yeah, just going back to these comments here. The Sharks are coming back for a second bite. Yeah, definitely. Very much in charge again. Carl Lusardi is an absolute monster. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen legs so big on a human. Those legs are genuinely tree trunks. They are huge. Yeah, 100%. I 100% agree with that concept, with that thing there. Butter Chamberlain down here in back plays. He looks quite injured. Oh my word, I think he's done his shoulder. Poor lad. I think, no, he's out. He's gone. He's gone, though. I think he's dislocated a shoulder or something. His arm has been put into a temporary sling in his shirt. That's a horrible end for Butter Chamberlain there, unfortunately. Shame. That's his game done. 66 minutes in. Luke Pierce is speaking French again. Abongile, they're saying, I was expecting a tough match. I'm a bit disappointed with the French team because I thought they were a very strong team, but of course I support the Sharks. Yeah, I think Bordeaux should have been a lot stronger than what they have shown today, but I did say right at the beginning, I said the Sharks team will dominate, and they have. I said the Sharks team's got way too much talent for this Bordeaux team, and it's really shown. Sharks have been all over them all game. It's just ridiculous how dominant they've been. I mean, Bordeaux, the only decent bit of play they had was the first 10 to 15 minutes after half-time. They looked like they were going to suddenly put a bit of a challenge on them, and then just as quickly they just unraveled and got yellow cards, and discipline was a problem yet again. Albert, they're saying, looks like he's not going to the World Cup. I don't think he was ever going to be going to the World Cup. He's not quite been at that level, has he? Sure. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. But also, World Cup's a long way away. If it's dislocated, he'll be back in a couple of months. That's not that serious. He'll definitely be back for World Cup time. Oh my word. And Bordeaux, I don't actually quite know how this happened. I do apologize. I somehow missed this, but Bordeaux's got a line out right in the Sharks 5-meter line, and it was quite arguably the worst line out I've ever seen. They tried the short. They tried to play it short, passed it straight up and tried to pop it back to the hooker, but clearly the hooker didn't know anything about this. So the ball just went straight over his head and straight out, and now it's Sharks line out on their 5-meter line. Comes to Eben Etzebeth. He pops it back for the new scrum half. Oh my word. Sharks almost stuffing up there. Doing very well there to eventually get off of his try line. Just searching for the ball here. Jaden Hendrickson is off and he has been replaced. Has he been replaced? No, I think he's still on the field. Bordeaux has charged the ball down, and now Bordeaux find themselves with the ball in possession on the Sharks pretty much 5-meter line again. It's a bit of a scrappy rugby right now. Bordeaux setting up some rucks, charging it through the forwards. Not managing to get much purchase there. Spreading it out a little bit wider. Again, not much purchase again. To the forwards. Oh, great defense from the Sharks. They're driving back. Now they try the back line. It comes to Luku. Luku gets taken down. Sharks are over. Oh, I thought they were over this. They're not actually. Oh, they tried the little dart there, Bordeaux. Almost getting through there. Almost not back onto the 5-meter line. They're just being patient now, Bordeaux, which is what they haven't done the entire game. They've just been patient with their build-up. Trying to drive it up slowly but surely. It's working relatively well. I mean, they're not making much ground, but it's certainly not like they're looking like they're going to lose it. It's not rolling here, I think, from the Sharks there, but ref saying, no, it's fine. Luke Pierce letting it play on. It's good refereeing, actually. Bordeaux stuffing up a bit there. They're just messing around. Eventually past the back line. They try the back line, but not really getting forward. Just basically drive it up again. Sharks try to get over the ball, not able to win it. It's very slow rugby, just making multiple phases here for Bordeaux. First time the entire game they've tried to do this. Bordeaux have had 4 yellow cards in this game, don't you forget. Currently with one right now. Oh my word. Play on, apparently, says Luke Pierce. The ball has been lost. And Sharks have got the ball back. Sharks have managed to regain this ball just on the inside of their 22-meter line. Eben Etzebeth now with the ball is going to try and set up a ruck for the team. Does well to just go take it down. Sharks trying to hold on here for this little ruck here. It's become a little messy. They're not going to be able to immediately get it out. Luke Pierce is saying play the ball. Ball's played back. Hendricks is chipping over the top for somebody to chase. There's a lot of space in behind. Tambwe is trying to come across, but Tambwe is now isolated. Mapimpi makes the tackle on Tambwe. He's by himself. Mapimpi's just keep driving him back. Sharks doing very well here. They're now racking over Sharks. They've got the ball. Jaden Hendricks is going on the outside, trying to pass the ball back in. It eventually goes out. I think it's off Bordeaux, so it should be a Sharks throw-in or line-out just outside the Bordeaux 22. So a complete change. I think great little ingenuity from Sharks there, putting huge defensive pressure on Madosh Tambwe, who was completely isolated at the back. And it gives me a little bit of chance to go and look through the comment again. Looks like he's not going to the World Cup. I already went over that. How many internationals does Bordeaux have in their team? Isn't that a good question? I don't have that immediately off the top of my head. Maybe somebody in the comment section can go and do a little bit of research for us, because I'm still going to be commentating and it's going to take a little bit of time to go and find out. So somebody maybe go and does a Google search. And I see Lecoux has come off for Bordeaux. Not actually the worst thing, because he's had a good game, but at the same time, like, he's not been that ingenuitive with regards to his planning. But he has had a good game, sure. He's probably been their best player for Bordeaux. Langford, they're saying, what a load. With a load of Springboks in the team, that's what happens. Yeah, it is exactly that. At the end of the day, Sharks are dominating Bordeaux because they've just got way too much talent on this side. Yeah. But also, people, we've got a big game coming up after this. It's Bulls. And I want to know what your thoughts are. What are your predictions for the Bulls game? I will confirm now. I just actually want to go look. I believe we are doing it. We are showing the game. We'll confirm for you. The Bulls game, hey? That's what we're looking for. Sorry, we're about to have the line up now. They just had a bit of stoppage in place. Some subs have been coming on for Bordeaux. And otherwise, Sharks eventually put the ball in. Eben Etzebeth gets the ball back. Passing through, comes to Jaden Hendricks, who seems to have found himself playing fly half now. Good little push there from, I think it's Pepsi Buzlezi. Rohan Jans van Rensburg charged the line like a beast. My word, they went there hard. They've chipped over the top. There's huge space in behind. Jaden Hendricks for his hat-trick. He's passed it. What a brilliant pass, but unfortunately not able to get up. Oh, my word. Sharks still right on the 5-meter line. Jaden Henderson with the ball. Oh, my word. Sharks just trying all of the inventive things, just not eventually working. Now, Bordeaux trying to run it out of their own half. They've got numbers. Comes to Madosh Tambwe, who's running up the wing. He tries to cut inside. Sia Cleese doing very... Not Sia Cleese, sorry. It's... Is it Sia? No, it is Sia Cleese doing very well just to bring him down there. Bordeaux now trying to come out with it again, just outside their own 22. It's a very scrappy play. Jaden Henderson tried to go for the ball, but he's missed it the first time, unfortunately. Bordeaux now come away with it, passing through the line. This is very tiring rugby to watch. I'll tell you, they look tired. Bordeaux is trying to just shift the ball and contact the whole time. Still holding onto the ball, but Sharks doing well just to keep them there. Eventually the kick comes. It's a deep kick. Sharks have to retreat very far to go and get this. Fassi kicks it forward. Obviously on for Butter Chamberlain, who's gone off injured. It's not the greatest kick from Fassi. It's just inside his own 10-meter line. So not the greatest kick from Fassi there. What I was trying to confirm for you is that we should be watching the Bulls later, I believe. I will confirm. Yeah. Bulls will be watched. And it's versus Exeter, obviously, so it's a massive game. Rion will be watching that with you. Sia Cleese down here with a little bit of cramp, it looks like, in his calf. He's had a great game today. Really, really good game. Definitely up there for a man of the match nomination. But yeah, so Rion, I don't know if you guys know Rion, but Rion will be with you for the Bulls game. Be sure to go and join him in that match. It's a huge match, of course. Bulls versus Exeter. Great matchup, great team. So that looks like a proper matchup. Be very interested to see the results of that. Of course, we'll be supporting the Bulls, I'm sure, most of us. But yeah. Albie's asking, how's Fassi only getting 10 minutes of game time? Is a good question. Butter Chamberlain has been playing well, but I mean, Fassi is a great player as well. So it's a bit of an odd one. But that just shows Sharks' depth. That's how many players they have in different positions that are just worthy of starting. Is that you've got those sort of players just on the bench. It's a bit ridiculous. We just got a lot of big breakage in play here, just waiting for the ball to eventually go. We've got 8 minutes left in this game, just under 8 minutes game. Wasn't Fussy injured? He was injured, but he did come back from injury for a little while back, so he could have been starting a few games as well. Bordeaux get the good line out right over the top. They're trying to spread it to the line. Sharks doing very well to defend. Lukanya doing what he does best. Ryan Jans van Rensburg trying to get the ball, not able to, knocks it on eventually. Ref's going to come back for a knock on, I think. Should only be a scrum. Yeah, scrum indeed to Bordeaux. Just knocked on there by Ryan Jans van Rensburg, who tried to get over the ball in the ruck. But all I'm saying is that there is a certain person in our comment section who has only got 7 minutes left to make sure that his 450 Rand doesn't go down the drain, because somebody does have 450 Rand on Mapimpi scoring today. So it's a very nervy 7 minutes for him. Sean, they're saying, giving us an update on the other match. Munster 27, Northampton 20. That looks like a very good game to be watching. Albert, they're saying Tumwe as being an a-hole. Yeah, he is being a bit of a temper tantrum person on the field today. So Bordeaux with the put in for the scrum. Sharks absolutely murdering their scrum, but they managed to get the ball out quickly. Lukanya coming up very quickly and not able to defend. Mapimpi gets the ball, chips unfortunately, and Bordeaux got the ball back now, and they try to kick it forward. And my word, what isn't happening here? I don't know. I think it's eventually knocked on by the Sharks. So it's just going to be another scrum. But I mean, that was the messiest little piece of play I've watched in a while. There's an interesting thing from the Sharks. They've had to play Jaden Hendrickson in the fly half position because of Kevin Bosch's late withdrawal from the game. So that's been interesting, that. So just another scrum here. Just over 5 minutes left of this game. Sharks have just been completely dominant, and Bordeaux's discipline has been absolutely shocking. That's probably the main reason why they've taken such a big L today. Just no discipline. And they also just couldn't get going in the first half. Sharks were all over them. They just couldn't get the ball into their own hands. Just to confirm that earlier thing, is Lisi sponsored by Red Bull? Yes, he is. Yes, he is sponsored by Red Bull. I do remember now. He is a Red Bull athlete. Bordeaux do manage to get the ball out of the scrum. I'm not quite sure how that ball is still legally going on, because there's definitely a big forward pass by Bordeaux there. Nonetheless, ref says play on. Ryan Jans van Rensburg charging the line quickly. Now comes to Lukanya He's got space to run it behind. He's motoring forward, Lukanya He's shifted off one play. He passes it back to Ryan Jans van Rensburg, who tries to turn back himself. He's also now shifting players on. They're almost on the 5-meter line. Could this be the Mapimpi try if it goes out to the wing? Oh, it's offside. That's going to be a yellow card. That's going to be a yellow card. Ref says play on somehow. I have no idea how. That is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life. There was a definite penalty, and somehow the ref has said no. Mapimpi regathers the ball. He's going to try go himself. He's found a little bit of space. He's running through. Oh, he's just been taken down on the 10-meter line. Comes to Andrews. Andrews can't get the ball out there. Now it comes back to Mapimpi. He's trying so desperately to get his try, but they're going to have to stop the game of rugby because they're coming into play with the injured player on the floor there. Mapimpi very upset. He reckons he could have scored a try there. I don't quite know how that wasn't a penalty and a yellow card. I really don't. It was the most... Yeah, I don't know. And Bordeaux now making some more subs here. Lukanya, I'm just getting a little bit of attention. It's not serious, don't worry about it, but just getting a little bit of attention there. Langford, they're saying Bulls are another team to watch indefinitely. Will be a humdinger, oh yeah. Now the Bulls game's huge, yeah? Just also watching here. Sorry, I just missed a few comments. Where am I going? Sorry, I'm humming for a long time there. So looks like we're on for a tight finish for the Saints game. Yeah, indeed, the Saints game is looking very close. Ian, they're saying, I've been a Shark supporter since they were known as Natal. I'm a big supporter of rugby. What the Lions are short of is some experienced players who can handle pressure. The team, what the Lions? I don't know what that last sentence is, but I do agree with regards to the fact that they need some bit more experience. But at the same time, they do and they don't. What they need is actually those players that are a little bit younger and not too old, because they do have experienced players, but they're just really old ones who are past it, unfortunately. You know, the likes of Willem Alberts. He's past it, unfortunately. And even Jaco Kriel, he gets injured far too often these days. He's also, just unfortunately, just a little bit past it. I mean, he does great when he comes back, but he's just getting injured far too often. It's players like Carlu Sardi that Lions needed to have held on to. It's players like Vincent Chituka that Lions need to have held on to. And because they keep losing players like that all the time, they're never going to get out of this slump where they're continuously having to build players up from nothing. Always having to put new players in each season and see whether or not they can get them up to the level and the standard they need. And that's the big problem. So we've got a scrum here in midfield. 76 minutes past. I'm not trying to count down the minutes to the end of this game, but I mean, we do know the outcome here. We are just basically wasting it out here in these last 4 minutes to get to the end of this match. But Sharks have definitely won this with a big bonus point. Siya Khaleesi arguably up there for a bonus for man of the match, alongside I'd say Jaden Hendricks as well. Has definitely put his hand up for that title. Sharks with a scrum here. Carlu Sardi doing big things. Oh my word, penalty against the Sharks. Sharks retreating, unfortunately. Carlu Sardi getting a bit of a dominance there. Bordeaux somehow trying to find an issue with Carlu Sardi and getting all over his face. But I mean, really, they are losing by quite some margin. So I think they do need to relax just a little bit. Luke Pierce just warning Bordeaux there that if you do more of that, they're going to turn the penalty around. So be careful. I do agree with that. They were being a bit stupid there, Bordeaux. Brink, Mapu, Kombrink. Yeah, these are all the players that Lions have lost recently. Well, not necessarily recently, but these in the last few years. Big names that they've lost. And even old James Fenter to the Sharks as well. That was a great player in the making, and we lost him. Akka van der Merwe. There's so many players you can talk about in the Lions teams that have just completely... They've just gone off to other teams, and Lions have just been left completely in the dark with regards to having new players and talent. Sharks managed to win the ball back from the Bordeaux Bordeaux line. And now Lukhanyo Um's coming up fast. He's going to try and create a try here, hopefully. Eventually brought down on the Bordeaux 10-meter line. Sharks, could they score another try right at the end here? Passing through the middle. Comes to Andrews in the middle of the field. Sharks continue going forward to the other side. Now they chose to opt to go the other way. It looks like Rowan Jans van Rensburg trying to come up the middle. Not able to get through much. Sharks now getting the ball out. It's come very quickly. Oh, but Bordeaux have taken the ball. Oh, my word, it's an accidental offsides, isn't it, ref? Knock on from Sharks first, then Bordeaux. So we'll come back for yet another scrum right at the end of the game. I think this will be the last piece of play because the scrum will take about a minute to get going. Jean is saying, Joburg Super Giants are horrible. 2 games in a row, they've just passed 106 all out. Oh, my word. Useless. Absolutely useless cricket team. Oh, dear. Kumbrink disappeared, to be honest. Yeah, Kumbrink did. He went off to Japan and nobody ever heard back from him, basically. Jean, where they're saying, yeah, Kumbrink was at the Bulls. Where he is. Where is he? I think he went back to Japan, didn't he? Rowan Jans van Rensburg, another big name lost by the Lions. Yeah, I did mention it earlier in the match. I said that's another thing. You know, it went overseas and then come back to the Sharks. I mean, you can literally go through the entire Lions like 22, and almost all of the players they've lost in like the last. If you go back to the team 3 years ago and you look at that team and you look at it now, almost all of those players are gone, and it's just so sad. Because you work so hard to build this big team together, and then all gone. There's a lot of big promising players in the current Lions side, don't get me wrong. But it's just that fact that they have to always build up from nothing, always. Heading into the last minute here, the scrum is about to get going. Eventually the scrum's going in, or not. Oh my word, we're going to reset the scrum. So this will definitely be the last piece of rugby for the day. Genre, they're saying Lions play Dragons next week, so surely they can beat them. You're 100%. If they don't beat the Dragons, then it's a shocking result. And Henko van Veek is a brilliant find for the Lions. I think that's a really, really talented player right there. Not a great couple of games, this last couple, but he's a serious talent, and I reckon that's a Springbok right there that we're watching as well. So, Springbok in the making. So Lions, again, need to try and hold on to these players. It's not like Vincent Chituka's brother, Emmanuel. Emmanuel Chituka is playing unbelievably well. But problem is, I just worry that we're going to lose him as well. There's all these Lions players. We're just continuously losing all the time. Sharks giving away a penalty there to Bordeaux. So Bordeaux now over 80 minutes. So the time is up, but they're still playing rugby, of course. And they've kicked the ball far into the Sharks half, just inside the Sharks 22. So can Bordeaux try and put a little bit of points on the board? To try and get a little bit of purchase right at the end of this match. The Bulls versus Chiefs. Chiefs shouldn't be playing. That Exeter Chiefs. Sorry, I'm being stupid. Bulls versus Exeter Chiefs is on now. So do be sure to go and switch across to that once this game is done, people. Rion will be with you for that game. And Sharks have won the ball back from that line out. Will they try and go forward with the ball? They look to be running it. They're going to run it. Comes to Johan Jans van Rensburg. It now comes to Lukanya up midfield. He's found a bit of space. He's found a lot of space. He's brought down eventually, unfortunately. Sharks looking to try and score. Try out of the Ensha. And the ball is kicked forward. And Bordeaux also keeping it alive, it seems. Sharks have got over that. Won the ball back. So Sia Klese takes the ball out. Can the Pimpy score a try? Can that 450 rand turn into something? Comes to Jaden Hendrickson. Passes it through. Oh my word! Nkuru comes through very well. Now comes to Fassi. Fassi's brought down on the 22. This is great rugby to watch. Oh, it's beautiful rugby. Now comes to Jaden Hendrickson. He doesn't know what to do. He's confused. He keeps running backwards. He's now passed it out to Sia Klese, who jumps off one. Passes it back to Lukanya Lukanya just takes it down in contact. Sharks trying to play some very exciting rugby here. It's very good to watch. Love seeing this. The time is up. They've easily got the win. They've got the bonus point, but they're still opting to try and play and get some more points on the board. Love it. Absolutely love it. Sharks just retaining the ball here. Is definitely not rolling away, I think, ref. Jaden Henderson passes the ball out. Comes to Rohan Jans van Rensburg, who breaks through the line, but not able to get through too much. Almost knocked on there by the Sharks. It is knocked on in the event eventually. And that is the game. Sharks 32, Bordeaux 3. An obvious win for the Sharks. Never really in doubt from the beginning of the game, and I do feel sorry for, I think it was Aiden, who put a 450 rand bet on Mapimpi scoring a try today and did not come off. Oof. Audible. Nonetheless, people, thank you so much for watching an unbelievable game of rugby for the Sharks. Totally in control. Very, very dominant game. Just going through the comments just before the end here. Carlu Sadi struggled a bit in the scrum. Yeah, he did. It was very weird. Thanks, man. Great game. Appreciate you. Langford said it's time for the young players to be chosen to replace the older players in all the teams. No, not quite. Certainly always phase them in usually. Ian saying, thanks for helping me see what's happening in the game. My TV packed up on Friday. You guys are good entertainment. Well, I very much appreciate your comments. I'm glad we can help you out. Gary saying, thank you. Well, thank you very much, everybody else. Been a great game. Loved chatting to all of you. I've been Mark. You've been watching Forever Sports. That was Sharks versus Bordeaux BEGLES, or however you want to say it in French. In the Champions Cup, Sharks have now made 3 wins from 3 with a 32-point win. 32 points to 3 points full time. Bordeaux basically just way too ill-disciplined, and Sharks punishing them for it. So, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you in the next stream. Cheers.